Well, good evening. It's not 8:13, 8:12. It is 8:05. That's not too bad. That's not terrible. I had to delay for some very important reasons. I had to have a conversation with a dear friend of mine. And we're going to start tonight. Well, first say hey to the chat. How you guys doing? How we doing? How we doing? If you guys are new to the channel, please like the stream. It really does make a big difference to the channel. So hit the little like button. It's really not hard. So do that when you're on your way in. And then I'll remind you, hopefully, if I do remember at some point in time as we get going. But we've got some stuff to talk about. A couple of things here and there. But before we get into all the details, let's say, hey, where are you guys tuning in from? What are you guys doing? You have any cocktails? How'd you have a week? Any of the above? I do know that I do want to make a shout out. So Chrissy Lee, who's a very big fan of the channel, who actually contributes a lot to the channel. She's in the hospital again. So we're going to say hi to Chrissy in the hospital. Hope you're resting, recovering, and hope you make a full recovery and come on back. And, don't worry, miss anything you want. Take care of yourself. So that's just a quick shout out. What are you guys doing? Where are you tuning in from? How was your week? I want to hear all about it because it was a wild. It was a stressful week. It was a stressful week. I didn't sleep too much just because of things. So, drinking homemade slushy in Nova Scotia. That sounds fantastic. Coming in from Spain. That's amazing. Vancouver Island. That's wonderful. Chocolate ice cream. Never a bad choice there. I have to make an ice cream scoop on the lathe. I did some lathe work this week. It's kind of a reward for myself. It's been a long week, man. Mountain Dew and chainmail, crazy. Craft fair tomorrow, Silver Raven. I hope you have fun at the craft fair. Kathy says, hiya, chat. It's been a challenging week. Glad to be here with my FNF friends. I'm glad you guys are all here. Crazy Cat Queen, Tallahassee, Florida. Cold barley tea with egg foo yumminess. That sounds fantastic. And then before I get too far into everything, I did want to make a shout out because Crazy Cat Queen, you're reminding me of this early. There were some gifted memberships. So Crazy Cat Queen gifted memberships, Joshua Ten Hag gifted memberships, Lisa Johnson gifted a large number of memberships, Lady Drake gifted memberships, and then Sensational Social with Beth sent a member chat, yay for FNF, and Barney Cat gifted memberships. You guys are really incredible with all of that. So the members only chats that we have on Thursdays or Wednesdays, depending on the day from the shop, are some of my favorite times. And we've been making pens, like a lot of them. Like, I think I have a few here. So there's one. See if it'll focus. Oh, yeah. There's one of them. Like that one. That was fun. This was one of the original. Focus. Find the focus. There we go. That was one of the original fidget pens. Oh, it's so much fun. It's one of them. Then we have this guy. Fantastic. And the other fidget pen that we had trouble with on the members only stream, but I did end up finishing it. Got it refinished. Focus. Come on, camera. You can do your job. Pretty simple. Fidget pens are fun because you can do that too. So, camera's doing the focus thing. It's doing wonderful. So, hope everyone's doing well. And on the topic of that pen, well, I'll get there in a second. Alicia, Washington State, drinking Jack and Coke. Fantastic beverage of choice. Arkansas, and working on a genealogy blog post. Oh, curious. How's that going? That's tough. I've never understood that. Anthropology is a really cool subject. So, H2O, because it's very warm. Yep, H2O is always good. Drinking some flavored water and ducking bad storms. We've got thunderstorm warning here. Part of the reason I'm a little bit late, but yeah, hopefully the thunderstorm doesn't mess with the interwebs and the internet when it's doing all of that lovely stuff. Patty Thomas, Ontario, Canada, drinking cold coffee. Silver Gypsy saying hi to Chrissy. Hope you feel better. That's always a hope that we have. Sending all the get well wishes. So, Chrissy, you got plenty of good vibes coming at you from the chat. Feel better soon. Sending hugs. Hopefully, FNF makes your week less stressful. All the love. I love it. That's fantastic. So, hopefully, that's a quick note that she can see when she joins the stream, when she catches on replay as soon as she's rested and recovered, and all of the above. Sonia, hello from New Jersey. Happy Friday, long and tough week. So, toasting you with some White Claws. I got cocktails, my dear. It was a week. It was a week full of law stuff for me. So for those of you guys who are new to the channel, I am a full-time practicing attorney. I own my own law firm. I practice domestic relations litigation and bankruptcy law. So I'm a litigator. And there are weeks that are stressful and weeks that are not. And there are weeks that are, up and down. This was a week that I just didn't sleep a whole lot. So if I have been off social media, it's kind of why. It's just one of those weeks. There might be some changes coming forward. I don't know. We're going to see. But it was just one of those weeks. So let's get rolling. At some point, we'll get rolling and catching up. Mod Princess, Minnesota checking in. Fantastic coffee in Wisconsin. Wonderful water in Philly. Amazing. Wait, apple silver homemade wine from Saskatchewan. Ooh, that's fun. Peggy has pizza and Coke in Texas. Friday is for pizzas. Friday is always for pizzas. Water in Miami. Khon Kaen, Thailand. Wow. All the way from Thailand tuning in. That's awesome. I always wanted to go to Thailand, by the way. It's pretty amazing. I've always heard great things. I need to travel more. I've been traveling a little bit, but it's all been domestic. I got to get abroad pretty soon. Margarita. Yes, margarita is always fantastic. Hi from Las Vegas, Nevada. It's been a while to hear in Las Vegas. Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. Oh, they did. I haven't been following a lot of hockey. I haven't been following a lot of sports recently. It's been kind of tough, honestly. I just haven't been into it a lot. It's golf season in full swing, and I've been kind of caught up with a bunch of the LIV stuff. Pizza and babysitting. Hope the kids are chilling out. The pizza should help. Lindsay, thank you for the super chat. Black cherry vodka and lemonade in Seattle this evening, working on some embroidery. Crafts are always welcome during FNF. Crafts are more than welcome during FNF. We always love the crafts during FNF. Love the pens. Thank you. I love pie. They're fun to make. They take about an hour total, like start to finish. It's pretty fantastic to be able to do. Teresa M, I'll be on replay crew as I'm at a storm shelter right now. Bad weather passing through with possible tornado and hail falling. I saw news reports from Arkansas that there was a bunch of hail down there that was really looking wild. I hope you're doing okay. Replay crew, we love you just as much. So to the replay crew, y'all are amazing. I know these streams are a little bit late. I know that you guys have other stuff going on Fridays. I appreciate every single one of you tuning in. So thank you, Teresa. That's very kind of you. XCDA, long week getting ready for my last at this job next week. I suspect next week will be long as well. It will, but it'll be exciting. So I very much hope that you enjoy that. By the way, I've been putting the pencils to good use. So the pencils and the notepads. Thank you very much. Talking trash and truths. Thank you for the super sticker. Very much appreciated. Cat Cap, thank you for the super chat. Prosecco, celebrating the last day of school for this elementary teacher in Massachusetts. Cheers to all. Cheers indeed. And congrats on the last day of school. Those elementary kids, they will they'll run you down. They'll run you down indeed. Really cool, Rob. Thank you, Marion. Don't forget to do the YouTube things. Yes, please like and subscribe. I know it sounds very cheesy to say as a YouTube person. I've still not viewed myself as a YouTube person, but it does help the channel. So please like and subscribe. YouTube's been doing a thing where they're just kind of unsubscribing a lot of people. So yeah. Kestrel, I like the gun pen. Well, that brings me to one of my first comments. The person that I was kind of reason for some of the delay was I was on the phone with a friend of mine. Now, this friend of mine, he's experienced some betrayal. And, I can sympathize with that betrayal, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. And I don't think we need to swoop to talk about it because Well, maybe we should do a quick swoop. Betrayal is a funny thing. And sometimes you think you know somebody. Sometimes you're just caught off guard. Share the screen. So this is my friend Spidey from the behavioral arts. And he's he and I make a lot of content together. He's a really good friend of mine. I really, really, really very much enjoy all of his content and commentary. But I was always his go-to for the law. 2 weeks ago, Spidey broke my heart. He broke my heart. He just shattered my heart. It's going down. Please don't tell Rob. Yes, he filmed with Emily, my other friend. I was betrayed. Betrayed. And I let my thoughts known. Didn't want you to find out this way. She means nothing to me. I was thinking of you the entire time. Now, the tortoise, he can keep Michelangelo. I don't want to put Michelangelo through this. But Spidey broke my heart when he said this is very difficult for him. He can't even look at little sticks of wood in the terrain without crying. And Emily came in. He said, y'all were on a break. We were not on a break. Those were lies. They were lies, fabrications. Well, that led to a bunch of this other stuff where it was just commentary, just some fun stuff. Here we go. He posted that as a separate post. But then I came to learn today. I learned today that he had filmed with Scott. Now, Spidey and Chase Hughes from the behavior panel are very close. If you guys don't know who the behavior panel are you guys under a rock? Like, they're really a fantastic channel. Check them out, please. But Spidey and Chase Hughes from the behavior panel, they're close. Chase is a buddy of mine too. And Spidey filmed with Scott. Much to our shock and amazement, the audacity of this man, the sheer audacity. Let's see, what did he have to say about himself? What did he have to say about himself when he was confronted with this? Chase. So this is how I found out. Wow. Just shocking. It just shocks the conscience. And Spidey coming back with his Spidey response. Chase, I didn't want you to find out this way, but we both know it's best for us to start seeing other people. Oh my word. On a separate note, I feel like I'm being followed. Do you know anything about that? Those are some accusations, Spidey. That is, that's pretty direct. It is. Straight up accusation. A lot of commentary. A lot of you guys thinking this is a funny joke. It's been fantastic. I jumped in the fray at some point in time. The fact that I even say, look at how many people are just tuning in on this. My gosh, gasp. Spidey, look at what you've done to the community that you have built. Look at this. Look at the shattered emotions. Just astounding. Astounding. So I had a conversation with Chase. We will respond accordingly. We will respond accordingly. I don't know what, I don't know how, but this can't go unanswered. So, yeah, not to start on a down moment. It's not a down moment. It's a happy moment because we're learning things. We're learning things. Shot of the P.O. box. It's in the About page. Thank you. You don't have to send anything. None of you guys do, but I do appreciate everything you do send. That's the jury box. Everything that was made back there is stuff you guys made. So thank you very much. Victoria asked, my mom passed in January and her obsession was genealogy. She was the go-to person for that. That's awesome. I'm sorry that she passed, but I'm encouraged that she had that passion. So that's pretty wonderful. So Azam, thank you. How you doing? I'm good. I'm okay. We're good. We're here. It's Friday. Susan coming in again. Coparinas for plus F&F Perfect Friday night. Thank you, Susan. Fantastic. The lion hoodie is downstairs. It'll probably come out sometime. Joshua, after a long and boring work week, I can close the week good with F&F and start weekend. Great weekends are always great. Thank you, Joshua. Gracie, did you get hail where you are? No, I just got storms. Like it came through real quick. It was pretty rapid through here. Jessica, hi Jessica, I see you. Let's see, catching up. This week deserves red wine and Coke. It's not that kind of week. Just not that kind of week. We're not going to do that. Own it, Rob. I own my demons all the time. Playing catch up because my gosh, the chat starts moving pretty quick. Let's see. Jessica, I'm very sorry to hear. This week was a little bad news from Australia with 2 close family members being told they're going to pass away soon. And France is a long way to get back in time, so I need a drink now. Have the cocktail, make the effort, make the flight. Focus on the family, the relationships you have, the friends you have. You can get through this. You can do it. Keep your head up, okay? LK Ryden birthday party tomorrow, so caffeine all the way. Absolutely. Caffeine is always a way to do it. LK, thank you is LK Ryden. Time Lords, thank you. Here's to a better weekend. Better weekends are always better. We're going to make the weekend great. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start off with Good Friday. We're going to make the weekend great. Nicole, thank you for the super chat. Birthday shout out for Celine Rosara because her birthday is tomorrow. She's beautiful inside and out and deserves all the love. So Celine, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Oh, I don't want to get copyright hit for that. But happy birthday, Celine. I hope you have a wonderful birthday weekend. Fantastic all around. A bunch of people saying happy birthday to Celine. That's fantastic. Olivia, missed y'all last week. A friend came in with a last-minute Detroit swizzle stick? Oh, Taylor Swift ticket. Oh, dang. For less than the price of a kidney. Well, those tickets are going for the price of a kidney. Nice to make it to a live this week. Having a Bell's Two-Hearted Ale, fantastic beer of choice. Although, they were purchased by a large entity. Not the same, but they did keep a bunch of the brewers, I think. So, good beer, though. Charisse, thank you. Diet Coke in Bay Village, Ohio, home of Sam Shepard. That's another case that we're going to redo. So, don't worry about that. That case is fantastic. I love that case in Trials of the Century. You were unsubbed today, Jenny. I'm telling you, YouTube does a funny thing. So double check. If you're not subscribed, double check. They've been unsubbing people left, right, and center. I don't understand how the algorithm works, but it does. It just does its thing. Kathy at Oz, Diet Coke in Kansas. I love Diet Coke in Kansas. Well, Kansas is wonderful. Just a bunch of green grass. Spidey cheated on you. He did. Oh, he did. The shame of it. It was. He just had no shame about it either. That's the problem. No shame about it. We'll never break your heart. Thank you, Tia. But Robbie cheated on Spidey all the time with Ian. No, that's different. I don't do behavioral analysis or anything like that with Ian. And Ian is a fellow lawyer of mine. So it's just a very different thing. It's a very different thing. I have to dye my hair purple to compete. I mean, don't tempt me with a good time. I think judges would be very, very, very confused about that. So I think I'm going to hold off on the purple hair dye. Just saying. No, EDB, no. Thank you, Diana B. She didn't know what she was doing. She didn't. She was duped into it by Spidey, who coerced her. We're going to go with that. That's what we're going with. So catching up. Jessica coming in with some heat. Wood Daddy Stack. Oh my gosh, it is early for that. It is 8:24 p.m. But I guess we can make a few jokes here and there all the time. All right, so let me get caught up. Make sure I'm here. I saw that, Vez. I do not cheat on Spidey with Ian all the time. It's a different relationship. Very different relationship. Ange Torres, thank you for the super chat. Very generous of you. Try to dye a wig for tomorrow's dress up. Okay, dye the wig. Have fun. Have some fun. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., I will be on Lawyers and Dragons on Richard Hoag's channel. So if you guys have not checked that out, it is definitely worth watching. Just a ton of imagination and a great time. So please, please, please feel free to check it out. Spidey should be allowed to do what's best for Spidey. Yeah. He can't be limited to just one. I get your point. But Chase and I are going to respond accordingly. Like, this is how it has to be. So, I mean, we're just going to have to do it. Just saying. All right, let's get to some law stuff. It gets caught up. Hi, everyone. Hopped over from Natalie Lawyer Chick. I saw that she was streaming. Hope she had a good stream. She was coming to the YNW Melly case. Man, the attorneys in those case are going back and forth pretty hard at each other. I saw the prosecutor pulled some shenanigans the other day. I didn't really like that. The judge kind of said, do not say this. The prosecutor said the thing. So we'll see. Open polyamorous relationship, anyone? Oh, my word. As a divorce attorney, I say, whatever floats your boat, great. But with those, be very careful what you're doing. No matter how much you think you know. General Tuggernaut, hello, Rob. Hope you're doing great. I'm doing wonderful, my friend. I know I owe you a call. I owe you an email. I owe you a lot of responses. I owe a lot of people a lot of responses, and I have felt really bad about that. That's one of the things that I've been struggling with this week is the stress and trying to get back to everybody. I will get back to everybody, I promise. I just need a good, solid day to do that. Azam, thank you very much. Rob, have you Googled Nazi Lamak? I have not. I'm doing that now. Am I going to regret it? Hope I don't. Yum. What is this? Malaysian coconut milk rice served with sambal, fried crispy anchovies. You know what? It doesn't sound terrible. It sounds really good, actually. Fried peanuts. Okay, I'm with you. I'm game. That sounds delicious. We can do that. That's wonderful. Hope you enjoy it. So much fun in here. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. I do enjoy the fact that you guys are enjoying yourselves and having a good time. Sue's story, I'm very sorry about this. Last week, I lost my job in housing as live-in caregiver. This week, my car died. $22,000 to fix. Now, this is a bad week or two. So, you're allowed to have it. And the universe is going to throw them at you. They are going to throw you curveballs. I'm confident you're going to pull yourself up, bootstraps, going to get over that hurdle, and all is going to be well. Good weeks are coming. Keep your head up. Thank you for sharing. Cat Yarb can't stay for all 4 a.m. comes early. It always does. I'll be on a replay crew and definitely will be tuning in to Lawyers and Dragons. Thank you, Cat Yarb. Very much appreciated. And like I said, we love a replay crew. Okay, make sure we get caught up. Keep catching up. Koru, late fee. Thank you for the late fee. I'm going to make a comment here because this is one of the reasons why this week was kind of tough. Tala Coletti, my mom died almost 2 months ago. Your Friday nights make it slightly better. I'm very sorry to hear about the loss of your mom. I'm glad that you have a community of people that are here making you feel a little bit better. And thank you for sharing, to be honest. Today would have been my parents' 50th anniversary. My dad passed in 2018. So today would have been their 50th anniversary. And I had a lovely note from my mom just kind of saying happy anniversary to my dad. So to all of those who have lost, cheers to those who have fallen before you, and may you meet them again in a better place. And to those struggling right now, love the life you have, live it to your fullest, live your best life. And, you leave a lot behind. Make sure one of the things you leave behind isn't regrets. So just live your life and do everything you can to make it the best you have. Thank you for sharing. I'm sorry for your loss. Equality, I got to go do my assignments to avoid a total freak out. Hope y'all have a great FNF. It was my birthday a couple of days ago. Can I get a happy birthday? Equality, you absolutely can get a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Equality. I hope you make a wonderful birthday. I hope you've had a wonderful birthday and are living this new year of your life, again, to your fullest. No regrets. Let's see. Catching up. Craig Cruden, pretend you're a British lawyer, wear a wig to cover the purple. Oh, I think that would get questions too. A lot of questions. So what do you think? Do we get into our first story? Thus, Friday begins. Thank you, Vices. It's Legal Vice's. It's the first Friday. Well, I guess it's not the first Friday of the month. Vices, were you streaming last month or last week? Well, it's his F It Friday streams, and those things go for marathons, like hours. And I have helped him land the plane more times than not, usually at like 3 a.m. It's not going to be a 3 a.m. night, but I did say I was going to pop over there and say hi to him. But cheers, my friend. Happy Friday to you. Brentwood Chic, late fee. Hi, Rob, chat, and the mods. Brentwood Chic, there are no late fees for you. Thank you for the support of the channel. You're always ever present in the chat, and I very much appreciate it. Let's keep on a rolling. We're going to roll. PJ10. Rob, don't let Spidey relegate you to side piece. You show him nobody puts Rob in a corner. Nobody puts Rob in a corner. Nobody puts Rob in a corner. Not at all. Never. Like I said, Chase and I are going to respond. It's just keep an eye out. We'll have some fun with it. Bad Biscuit, can you go handlebar wash? I don't know what that. I'm afraid. Handlebar wash. What is a handlebar wash? It just pulls up handlebar wash. If you said handlebar mustache, I can't do a handlebar mustache. I don't know if I have the I don't think I can. Thank you. I'm confused, but thank you. I'll figure that out at some point. It's probably going to hit me like in like 10 minutes. So let's get rolling. Do we want to do a little pen content, or do we want to get right into the story? What do you think? We got law stuff to cover. Law stuff is fun to cover. Well, let's do this. Let's get rolling with our first story of the evening, huh? Swoop. Swoop. Yeah, swoop. Yeah, swoop. All right. So, first story of the evening we've got is the PGA. So, the PGA Tour settled with LIV Golf. For those of you guys who don't know, LIV Golf sued the PGA. Let's see if we can't pull this up. Jay Monahan, RBC transcript, because the last time that I tried to play that video of him giving the speech, it did not go well. PGA didn't appreciate that very much. We'll see if we can't find anything going on here. So the PGA Tour was sued by LIV Golf. And pull the buttons. We can do the buttons. Jones versus PGA. Opposition to this motion, blah, 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 blah. And PGA and LIV Golf reached a settlement. Very curious, right? Because LIV sued them, saying, you can't be doing all of this anti-competitive practices and excluding us from an entire field of engagement. And LIV was filed lawsuit. They were heated. They were unhappy with anything going on. And they reached an agreement. And the agreement was, if I can push the buttons, Rob, push the button. Rob, push the button. Come on. LIV Golf. What was I looking for? Brain. Do the brain thing. Do the brain thing. Come on. You were right there. You were right there. You remembered what you were doing. You were doing it just fine. And then all of a sudden, you heard a beep in your ear and everything went to hell. And you're trying to go, where was I when I heard the beep in my ear? The thought process was LIV Golf, PGA, LIV lawsuit, settlement terms. That was what it was. LIV Golf, PGA settlement. I knew I would get there. Just give me a second. Okay, so share screen, find the right tab to share the screen. Tabby. Hello, Tabby. So, reporting from Golf Digest, and this was reported last week, that LIV Golf, after suing the PGA, they announced a surprise merger and will form a new commercial entity to unify golf. I love this, these little quotes. So that's the purpose. Unify golf. Lovely. So the PGA Tour and Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, the PIF, which is the primary financial backer for LIV Golf, a competing league, have announced a treaty and potential merger ending 2 years of civil war in professional golf. I don't know if they ended it, but we shall see. In a surprise press release Tuesday morning, this is last Tuesday, by the way, the two circuits, along with the DP World Tour, announced a landmark agreement to unify the game of golf on a global basis. Well, that sounds interesting. A unified global enterprise of a specific market that is essentially a sport or competitive league. Anyone seeing red flags? The move comes on the 1-year anniversary of the former launch of LIV Golf in London, and 10 months after 11 of the LIV Golf members filed an antitrust lawsuit against the PGA Tour. Interesting. So, here are the terms of the agreement. The parties have signed an agreement that combines PIF's golf-related commercial businesses and rights, including LIV Golf. So basically everything that LIV Golf has that's of value. So LIV Golf, a bunch of money, and businesses, with the businesses and rights of the PGA Tour. So LIV Golf says, here's a bunch of money, here's LIV Golf. PGA Tour says, cool, we have the PGA. Let's go ahead and throw those into a new entity. Now, the DP World Tour is a smaller tour, and they also joined it. And essentially, they throw it into a new entity that's a for-profit entity to ensure that all holders benefit from a model that delivers maximum excitement and competition among the game's best players. See, it's this part. So everyone throwing into one new collectively owned for-profit entity. Red flags are kind of blaring in my head right now, because the U.S. doesn't really do a whole lot when it comes to anti-competitive content. Well, they don't really care for it very much, with the exception of sports. But we're going to get to that in a second. So that's the statement. The organization will work cooperatively to allow the process for any LIV players to reapply to the PGA Tour following the 2023 season. All right. After 2 years of disruption and distraction, this is a historic day for the game we all know and love, says PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan in a statement. This transformational partnership recognizes the immeasurable strength of the PGA Tour's history, legacy, and pro-competitive model, and combines it with the DP World Tour and LIV, including the team golf concept. We're not sure if that's going to survive, but I think that was one of the conditions that was actually carved out, to create an organization that will benefit golf's players, commercial and charitable partners, and fans. Here's one of the problems with anti-competitive conduct. So when you have one entity that's a global entity that essentially is all of golf, when you say we're totally going to benefit the players, what if you choose not to? What choice do the players have? What can they do? Can they go to another league? Can they play in another style? So to say that we're going to benefit the players, it's like, just trust me, bro. It's going to benefit the players, and it's going to benefit commercial and charitable partners. But again, if there's only one avenue where people can watch golf, don't you also have some of those advertisers kind of bent over a barrel? Like you can't go anywhere else. So if you want to air golf, you have to abide by our terms. If you are a TV broadcaster, for example, if you're a TV broadcaster and you want to play golf on your program, or you want to include golf in your programming, now you have one entity to go to, one negotiating power. That's it. So does anyone else have concerns with this? Now, the NFL has this arrangement. The NBA has this arrangement. The NHL kind of has this arrangement. These are all things that, because of the power of those entities, don't really get taken on. We're going to see where this goes. I'm very curious about this. Now, there is a point I want to call out here. So Jay Monahan comments at the RBC. So Jay Monahan during the RBC, and I'm going to pull this up. This is what he said at the RBC. Now, this was during a lot of the LIV discussion. And again, this was in 2022. So last year at the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada tournament, he was speaking on CBS and he made this statement. Now, I tried to play this video last week and it just, PGA didn't like the fact that I played the video. So F you, PGA. We're going to read the transcript. So, quote, it's been an unfortunate week that's created by some unfortunate decisions, those decisions being players choosing to violate our tournament regulations. It's my job to protect, defend, and celebrate our loyal PGA Tour members, our partners, and our fans. And that's exactly what I did. And I don't think it was a surprise to anybody, given how clear I have been about how we are going to handle this situation. Jay, that's fine. I didn't really agree with it because it was kind of taking the high road. However, when asked about human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia, Monahan criticized the players who chose to overlook the moral implications for monetary gain. Here's a problem. Every one of these corporations overlook moral implications for monetary gain. Every single one of them do. And when one stands on a high horse and says, we are more moral than the others, you are setting yourselves up for the arrows to come firing. And also when you're in active litigation, maybe not the best thing to do, because if you settle that litigation, then you have to explain the settlement. So Jay Monahan is quoted, quote, it's probably an issue for players that chose to go and take the money. And I think you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that there are significant implications. And I would ask any player that has left or any player that would consider leaving, have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour? What is left out of this is that the question that immediately preceded this was a question about 9/11. It was played on the anniversary, I think, and it was coming up. And he implied that people that were going to the LIV-backed league or the Saudi-backed league might have different thoughts given the circumstances surrounding 9/11. Pretty disgusting. Pretty disgusting. So going back to this announced settlement, 1 year later. So that was June what was that? What was the article date? The article date was, the original article I read from, the date was June 12, 2022. So 1 year later, almost 1 year to the day, we are pleased, quoting Jay Monahan, we are pleased to move forward in step with LIV and PIF, Saudi-backed monetary, world-class investing experience. And I applaud the PIF governor, Yasir Al-Rumayyan, and his vision for collaborative and forward-thinking approach that is not just a solution to the rift in our game, but also commitment to taking it to new heights. This will engender a new era in global golf for the better. So, do we see any difference between this statement, it's been an unfortunate week, that, and I would ask any player that has left, or have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour? Have you ever had to apologize for being a member of the PGA Tour? And then this week, we're pleased to move forward in step with LIV's and PIF's world-class investing experience. And I applaud PIF Governor Yasir Al-Rumayyan for his vision and collaborative and forward-thinking approach. It's not just solution to the rift in our game, but also commitment taking it to new heights. Just saying, you put yourself in that corner, Jay. You put yourself in that corner. Now, Jay Monahan, it was announced this week, the PGA. See if we can't find that article real quick. Pull up the thingies. Let's do this one. Going back to Golf Digest, I know golf's boring for a lot of you, but this is just not really golf. This is hypocrisy. And we're just going to call this crap out as it comes. PGA Tour Commissioner Monahan suffers medical issue, steps away from day-to-day operations. That's interesting because that appears to be, by my calendar, 3 days ago. So like 1 week after he announced those things about, we're very pleased with the new investor. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan has suffered a medical issue and has stepped away from his role. At this point, I'm going to do this. Medical issue. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying he wasn't under stress. I'm just saying the timing is a little weird. It's a little weird. In a statement Tuesday released by the PGA Tour, Monahan has informed the league that he is recovering from an unspecified medical condition. The board fully supports Jay and appreciates everyone respecting his privacy. How many of you guys have seen articles like this in the past? Just saying. Just saying. No additional details were released. Golf Channel reported that a phone call to relay the news to the policy board lasted 35 minutes, but it was not given any more details than were given in the statement. Our thoughts are with Jay and his family during his absence, and we wish him a speedy recovery. To the extent that it's a serious medical issue, I do as well. But I just have questions. Price and Dennis said in a joint statement, we have a strong, experienced leadership team in place, and our priority is to support our players and continue the work underway to further lead the PGA Tour and golf's future. This is the joint statement, the entire joint statement. This is what was released by the tour. Joint statement from Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan and the PGA Tour Policy Board. Jay Monahan informed the PGA Tour Policy Board that he is recuperating from a medical situation. The board fully supports Jay and appreciates everyone respecting his privacy. During Jay's absence, Ron Price, Chief Operating Officer, and Tyler Dennis, Executive Vice President and President, PGA Tour, will lead the day-to-day operations of the PGA Tour with the assistance of the great team Jay has built, ensuring seamless continuity. We will provide further updates as appropriate. Okay, so that's background. This is context. So now we have the context to begin the discussion of what transpired this week. Now, granted, Jay stepping down, that transpired this week in part. But what we have is a lot of curiosity about the terms surrounding this potential merger. They announced the merger. They said, we have settled our dispute. Don't look any further. We good. That's essentially what they said. Don't bother with us. We're good. Just look the other way. We're fine. Because here's the problem with that. A lot of problem with that. So the lawsuit, as you guys might remember, was filed as an antitrust lawsuit. And I believe that's under the Sherman Act. So Sherman Act, antitrust, competitive litigation. And let's go ahead and pull up the actual lawsuit itself. That very first lawsuit alleged essentially that the PGA Tour was here we go. Let's share. We can do the share screen. Come on, share the screen. You can do this, Rob. Share the screen. So this is the lawsuit that's filed. There's a bunch of the players suing the PGA. Okay. So the PGA Tour began, we're not going to go to the beginning. Here's what it is. As the tour's monopoly power has grown, it's employed its dominance to craft an arsenal of anti-competitive restraints to protect its long-standing monopoly. Now threatened by the entry of LIV Golf and diametrically opposed to its founding mission, the tour has ventured to harm the careers and livelihoods of any golfers, including the plaintiffs, who have the temerity to defy the tour and play in tournaments sponsored by the new entrant. The tour has done so in an intentional and relentless effort to crush nascent competition before it threatens the tour's monopoly. Okay, so that's what they were saying, that the tour that had the monopoly, they were going through that, all this other stuff. Now, what's interesting is, hang on, where was the part? PGA Tour is a not-for-profit entity. And no, I don't want you're doing the thing with the article. Come on. Give me the right one, please. please? Stop it. Come on. Also, stop freezing. You guys, I swear, these browsers. Oh, you can do that. I hate this browser. Okay, we're not frozen. We're good. We're good. I think we're good. We're probably good. We might be good. I think we're good. Okay. You know what? Let's go to WSJ. Because they were the one that broke the story. Find the page, Rob. Oh, gotta remember the sign in. What's my sign in? Oh, good. All right. So Wall Street Journal reported this. They broke the story. So the PGA Tour's deal with the LIV Saudi backers to be investigated by the Department of Justice. The probe introduces uncertainty to the agreement between warring bodies that stunned the golf industry, which is already facing scrutiny under federal antitrust law. And before we go much further, I do want to take a quick moment. Actually, I'm going to do this. I need a quick break. Just a quick one, I promise. But in the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys something. So Alita made a pen. She was traveling with me. We're going to look at the pen being made. Okay. Thank you for bearing with me. I needed that little minute. Much appreciated. I can play that later too if we need to re-see it. But that was a quick stitch of Alita making the pen. It was fun to take that little video too. So, all right, let's get back to what we were talking about. And I appreciate you guys sticking around for that. The Justice Department has notified the PGA Tour that it will review the tour's planned merger with LIV Golf Saudi backers for antitrust concerns. People familiar with the matter have said. Initiating a regulatory obstacle into the stunning deal that the warring golf bodies hope will stabilize the divided sport, a review by the Justice Department, which had already been investigating the PGA Tour and other leading golf bodies for anti-competitive behavior, introduces uncertainty to the planned joint venture between the PGA Tour and the Saudi Arabian PIF, Public Investment Fund. It also makes it probable that any transaction that's hammered out between the rivals won't take effect for some time. So, reminder, PGA Tour, nobody panic. We have an agreement. Justice Department, hang on. One senior tour executive told employees this week that the outcome of the blockbuster proposal likely won't be known for at least a year. A person familiar with the remarks said regulatory review could extend even longer than that. The official also said to them that it's possible that the union between the tour and Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund will fall apart entirely if the sides can't settle on specific terms. This is the thing. The goal that they had articulated was essentially, we give all of our stuff, you give all your stuff, DP gives all their stuff, for-profit enterprise, cool, we're good to go. That is all we know. That's all we know. Do you know how many specifics are in that deal that we don't know yet? Like, it is wild to think that that was enough to stop the litigation. Now, the litigation has been stayed, and we're going to get to that too, because there's a curious development there. But they basically said, don't worry, nobody look here, nobody look, we're fine. We're all fine. Don't look at the burning building. Don't look at the burning building. Just ignore it. We're cool. We are confident that once all the stakeholders learn more about the PGA Tour will lead this new venture, they'll understand how it benefits our players, fans, and sport while protecting the American institution of golf, the PGA Tour said in a statement issued late Thursday. All right. So I'm curious to hear about how that's going to work. So, to the surprise of everyone except the small crew of people who negotiated the pact, they decided to combine their commercial golf assets into a new entity, speaking of LIV, PGA Tour, and the DP Tour. So they dropped the litigation, but it still left major details to be worked out, all under a microscope from regulators who have spent a year studying the golf ecosystem already. And while LIV alleged the tour was already acting as an illegal monopolist to stifle nascent competition. Further complicating matters, the PGA Tour said this week that its commissioner, Jay Monahan, who helped negotiate the PIF deal and is set to be the CEO, chief executive officer of the combined entity, has taken a leave of absence because of what the tour has described as a medical situation. Tour officials have said that work on the deal will go on without pause in his absence. Federal antitrust scrutiny has been widely anticipated in the wake of the announcement, which came on the heels of the existing Justice Department investigation into the PGA Tour and other golf institutions, including Augusta National. Antitrust lawyers have been quick to point to potentially problematic aspects of the deal, including statements by Monahan, who told reporters that it would be good for the tour to take the competitor off the board to have them exist as a partner, not an owner. Ooh, like everyone that has ever drafted anti-competitive legislation or antitrust in general is seeing this statement and just getting really uncomfortable. Because let's say, for example, that Ford Motor Company decided they were going to take the competitor off the board and purchase Chevy, GMC, literally every other producer. This is essentially taking someone like a Ford Motor Company, a Chevy, or Tesla, I don't care who you call, and saying that car manufacturer takes every single other manufacturer off the board and brings them into one umbrella and says, you know what, we're going to do this because it's going to be good for you, the consumer. The problem is the consumer now has nowhere else to go to get the product. So what are they going to do? If Ford, who has absorbed everybody else in this hypothetical, says we're going to charge $200,000 for a vehicle, where else are they going to go to get a vehicle? There's nobody else that produces it. So monopolistic practices harms everybody, except for the people able to form the monopolies. People familiar with the agreement have said it wouldn't be surprising if the Justice Department examined the deal, but that regulators should be happy with it because it benefits everyone within the industry. This is the part where I'm going to have opinions that are less, like a little more spicy, a little different. So Monahan says every single player in the men's professional golf is going to have a more opportunity and growth. How, though? How? So the tour official speaking to employees this week acknowledged the earlier Justice Department investigation when discussing the matter with employees and said the body fully expects the agreement to be scrutinized by the European Commission. So the Europeans are involved as well, and regulators in the UK as well. Now, I'm not a federal law person, and I know very little about the Sherman Act. I know a bunch, but not as much as some people. And I see someone who raises an eyebrow because I think this person knows a lot about the Sherman Act.
I know a few things.
How you doing, buddy?
I've had a slightly rough day. I've had several technological fails of very minor degrees.
I saw that your phone was having issues.
Yeah, my phone had issues, and I had to go to the Apple Store and get the screen replaced. So fortunately, fixing it turned out to be relatively inexpensive, but it still was a massive faff. And there was drama, but I don't want to go into that right now.
Well, we don't have to. I'm glad it's fixed. That's why I sent you a DM on Twitter and not texting you to your phone.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the LIV Golf and PGA thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this this DOJ investigation?
Yeah. So it does seem to be an undue restraint on trade because there's not exactly a whole host of competitors out there. And to the extent there is, the PGA-LIV merger would be a sizable percentage of the relevant market and would inhibit the ability of further people. Plus, the motivations behind it seem to be somewhat less than, what shall we say, purely in the interests of the business. There seems to be some potential malfeasance that seems to being hid by this merger. And so that got my attention. So I would imagine the DOJ might be a little bit more questioning this particular merger. Questions hopefully will be asked.
Now,
let's look at the books.
What I thought, yeah, we're going to do that. That's the big question. Oh, this is a fun part too. Before we get to that, I wanted to give you a piece of trivia. The NFL.
Yes. Non-for-profit, C6, baby.
It is. It's a 501c6, babe. It is. It is fantastic. However,
the NFL, I just love this fact. It's such a great fact. The NFL.
Oh, yes. I know you knew. I knew you would know it.
The NFL.
Oh, I knew it. You would.
Which is somewhat of an enterprise, which does acquire some minor amounts of money, is a non-for-profit. Wow. It's great.
Did you know? Are they subject to the Sherman Act?
Ooh, I feel like there was a special carve out for the NFL by Congress on that.
There was.
Yeah, going back into my memory hole, and we're trying to find that. Yeah, they wrote a special exemption just for the NFL because they're so special.
Oh yeah,
the non-for-profit.
They really did. They really did. And this is people, because people are saying, well, what about the NFL? What about the MLB? What about the NBA? And I'm like, you guys, this is where I'm getting with this analysis. Like, the Congress doesn't want to take on this issue because it makes them answer questions they don't want to answer. So Congress
questions being like, what's the entire point of C6?
Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. This is an article back from December of 2021. And it's talking about the NFL. And so In the early 1960s, Congress gave the league an exemption to federal antitrust laws, permitting all of the individual teams to act as a single entity when negotiating TV contracts. By bargaining together, the owners had been able to land dramatically more lucrative broadcasting deals. They are specifically carved out. It's an exemption to antitrust litigation.
Yeah, Congress can do that. So, yeah. You think they're going to pass the PGA-LIV Exemption Act?
I
The
don't
Golf for
know.
All Act?
Do you know how much money is involved?
Some?
Just a bit, right? Just a bit. And here's your other piece of what was the case? It was Holmes that wrote the opinion.
The exemption required broadcasters air every team's game in their home market. Well, that's the exactly opposite of now present reality. So, because they don't air them, because no one does air.
Hang on. Wendell Holmes wrote the opinion. Where's the freaking opinion? It was in 1915, Federal League sued the MLB and contended that
to the W. Holmes, baby.
This was okay. Here it is. Search the web. Find the case. There's the case.
LawTube should be a nonprofit. Let's get a C7 exemption there. That'll be good.
You go away. Federal Baseball Club of Baltimore versus the National League of Professional Baseball Clubs. Decided May 29th of 1922. Okay. You know what? I can probably find this on SCOTUS, Supreme Court, because I know that you like.
I do like SCOTUS opinions in the original
text.
I do like SCOTUS opinions in the original. You might have to go to National Archives for this one.
Yeah, National Archive. Let's do that because it's 1922.
Right.
Archives, Supreme Court. Let's do this. National Archives, archives.gov. Research the opinions. Let's go ahead and search the opinion. We were talking about.
Yeah. NZ Butterfly Girl asks, how is the NFL a non-for-profit? Do you have a different definition of that in the United States? It's a non-for-profit because Congress said it is.
Yeah. And you know what's even better? Wait till you see this opinion. This opinion is one of my favorites. Give me the reporter number. Come on, baby. Where was the Justia link? Because that had the reporter number in it, and that's going to be the fast way to find it.
I think the National Archives also incidentally just digitized all the oral arguments for the Supreme Court. There was a press release about it.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. So they're all now available and digitized. So that's nice. So if you want any oral argument, the Supreme Court started doing oral arguments. What was it? 60? Or was it 55? Somewhere in there. So if you want any oral argument past that date, well, the National Archives for your listening pleasure. If you need a new podcast, there you go. We do some old school oral arguments about some train cases or something.
All right, this is killing me right now. Supreme Court. White House tapes. The National Archives needs to update their search inbox. All right, we're stuck with Justia for now.
That's fine. We'll live.
All right. So, syllabus. The business of providing public baseball games for profit between clubs of professional baseball players in a league and between clubs of rival leagues, although necessarily involving and constantly repeating traveling of the players from one state to another, provided for, controlled, and disciplined by the organization.
I didn't know it said this.
Is not interstate commerce.
I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna start throwing things around my room. What the? Can I curse?
Sure.
What the fuck? It's not interstate commerce. What? I can't deal with this, Rob. This doesn't fit into my box that I have in my head. What do you mean it's not interstate commerce?
Don't look at me. I didn't write this.
But wheat grown on a field is interstate commerce, but this is not.
No, everything that touches interstate commerce.
All right.
Healthcare is interstate commerce.
So
Everything is interstate commerce, except for Major League Baseball.
Here's the one simple trick Filburn did not think of. Okay, here's the one simple trick Filburn did not think of. You ready for this? Filburn had a farm filled with wheat, lots of wheat, and he wanted it to not be interstate commerce. What did he need to do? He needed to go full of dreams, field of dreams style, and carve a baseball diamond into his field of wheat. Okay? If he had carved a baseball diamond into his field of wheat, full field of dream style, then his farm would not have been interstate commerce. I found a way to overturn Wickard v. Filburn, Rob.
But can we just I want
ghosts are not interstate commerce.
It was the DC Court of Appeals. It was Holmes' opinion. Where is it? Holmes delivered the opinion of the court. What was the vote on this one? Let me see if I can't find this. We can find it. That's the there's Oye. The vote was
it's probably 9-0. I bet. If I had to take a random guess, I have 50-50 chance of being right. So hey, there's that.
There's a suit for threshold, blah blah blah. Holmes delivers. Is there a dissent? There's no dissent.
No. There you go.
Oh my God! And this is like
if you build it, it wards off the federal government.
This is so.
A baseball diamond in your property is now officially a hex that keeps the federal government away. Wow.
All right. So here's the opinion, because this is a cleaner with a smaller header. We're going to read through the opinion because this is really short. This is, by the way, Kurt, this is the entirety of the opinion.
I'm going to get myself a wich or a shaman.
That's it. That's all we've got. This is the entirety of the opinion.
Chicken bones. Oh, it's only 2 paragraphs long.
So this is a suit for threefold damages, so treble damages, brought by the plaintiff in error under the Antitrust Act of July 2nd, 1890. The defendants are the National League of Professional Baseball Clubs and the American League of Professional Baseball Clubs, unincorporated associations composed respectively of groups of 8 incorporated baseball clubs joined as defendants. The presidents of the 2 leagues and a third person constituting what is known as the National Commission, having considerable powers in carrying out an agreement between the 2 leagues, and 3 other persons having powers in the Federal League of Professional Baseball Clubs. And I say baseball because they have separated the word, the relation of which in this case will be explained in 4 paragraphs. Are you out of your mind? It is alleged that the defendants conspired to monopolize the baseball business, the means adopted being set forth with a detail which, in the view that we take, it is unnecessary to repeat.
Why discuss the details? That's fine.
Are you kidding?
We'll just press past it. Too long. Too long. Didn't read something. Moving on.
The plaintiff is a baseball club incorporated in Maryland and with 7 other corporations was a member of the Federal League of Professional Baseball Players, a corporation under the laws of Indiana that attempted to compete with the combined defendants. Are you starting to see how this might overlap with the LIV Golf situation?
Yeah.
It alleges that the defendants destroyed
LIV Golf is not interstate commerce and PGA is not interstate commerce?
I don't know. It alleges that the defendant destroyed the Federal League by buying up some of the constituent clubs and in one way or another inducing all these clubs except the plaintiff to leave their league. So everybody leave your league except this one team we don't want. So screw that one team, leave them alone on an island. Everyone come and play. And the 3 persons connected with the Federal League and named as defendants, one of them being the president of the league, took part in the conspiracy. Great damage to the plaintiff is alleged. The plaintiff obtained a verdict for $80,000 in the Supreme Court, and a judgment for treble the amount was entered. But the Court of Appeals, after an elaborate discussion, held that the plaintiffs were not within the Sherman Act. The appellee, the plaintiff, elected. to stand on the record in order to bring the case to this court at once, and thereupon judgment was ordered for the defendants. The decision of the Court of Appeals went to the root of the case, and if correct, makes it unnecessary to consider other serious difficulties in the way of plaintiff's recovery. A summary statement of the nature of the business involved will be enough to present the point. Oh, this is going to be good.
We're in the middle of paragraph 3. We only have one more paragraph to go. We have to state and resolve the issue in the next 5 sentences. Okay.
The clubs composing the leagues are in different cities and for the most part in different states. The end of the elaborate organizations and sub-organizations that are described in the pleadings and evidence is that these clubs shall play against one another in public exhibitions for money, one or the other club crossing a state line in order to make the meeting possible.
Yeah.
Do you think fans might go from one line to another? When, as the result of these contests, one club has won the pennant of its league and another club has won the pennant of the other league, there is a final competition for the world championship between these two. Of course, the scheme requires constantly repeated travel on the part of the clubs, which is provided for, controlled, and disciplined by the organizations. And this, it is said, means commerce among the states. But we are of the opinion that the Court of Appeals was right.
How?
The business is giving exhibitions of baseball, which are purely state affairs.
What?
It is true that in order to attain for these exhibitions the great popularity that they have achieved, competitions must be arranged between clubs from different cities and states. But the fact that in order to give the exhibitions, the leagues must induce free persons to cross state lines and must arrange and pay for their doing so is not enough to change the character of the business. According to the distinction insisted upon in Hooper versus California, the transport is a mere incident, not the essential thing.
No, it's not.
You are competing against different states. It is a state versus state, a city versus city. What are you talking about? That to which it is incident, the exhibition, although made for money, would not be called trade of commerce in the commonly accepted use of the words, as is put by the defendant. Personal effort not related to the production is not a subject of commerce. That which in its consummation, in the process of being consumed, is not commerce, does not become commerce among the states because the transportation that we have mentioned takes place. What about all the ancillary things that take place? Are there any products being sold at the game that might come from other states? Are there people traveling that are fans that are going from other states? Is there perhaps advertisers that are coming from different states? Where are you not seeing the connection? This is a terrible hypothetical. To repeat the illustrations given by the court below, a firm of lawyers sending out a member to argue a case for the Chautauqua Lecture Bureau sending out lectures does not engage in such commerce because the lawyer or lecturer goes to another state. That's a bad hypothetical. If we are right, the plaintiff's business is to be described in the same way. The restrictions by contract that prevented the plaintiff from getting players to break their bargains and the other conduct charged against the defendants were not an interference with commerce among the states. Kurt is not frozen. Kurt can speak. Kurt is just...
Who's Kurt?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Baseball is just a game, Kurt. It's not an $11 billion industry. It's just a game. Unanimous court. Unanimous court.
Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. Give me a second. I'm working on this. What year is this? 1933?
22.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. So this is the Lochner error of the Supreme Court. I think what they're saying, and Justice Thomas was referring to this concept recently, I think, in what decision was he talking about with interstate commerce and this distinction? I forget, but it was a very recent case of the U.S. Supreme Court where Justice Thomas dissented. And he was saying that under the original understanding of the Commerce Clause, and going back to the Lochner era when this was, there was a distinction between, what was it, like production of goods versus like the sale of goods or something. Like one of them is not commerce and one of them is. Let me see if I can find Justice Thomas's dissent that he wrote recently, because he's alluding to this concept. Hold on. And I think I can make it make sense. Hold on. I had to reach pretty deep to make this work, but give me a second.
Okay, we're going to make it work. So while Kurt's looking that up, I will say that this has been the source of several law review articles that are confuzzed. They are confused, and they have very conflicting views as to whether and how professional sports leagues are subject to antitrust. And honestly, the MLB, because of stare decisis, is the only one that has not been brought before Congress in that level. So while you're pulling that up, I'm going to pull up 501c6, because you are going to be very fascinated by, I think so. PGA revenue 2022. Let's pull that one up. And let's go ahead and take a look at 501c6. So a 501 is 26. So is it 26 CFR 1501? Okay. No. Why? It's not CFR. Why? It's not CFR. It's a code section. What's the chapter of that? It's not the code section here, guys. All right, so 501c. I want to pull the fucking code section, but what chapter is it? So I don't do tax law, because I know chapter 11, so it's 20. That's this IRC. What's the IRC? Internal Revenue Code 1983.
What?
IRC 193.
1983?
IRC 1983 is the 26 U.S. code. No.
42.
Code. 42 is the code.
I thought you were referring to I thought you were referring to
USC 501.
No, that's I'm sorry. 42 USC 1983 is dealing with deprivation of civil rights.
What's tax? What chapter is tax?
I don't know. I don't like tax law.
I don't either.
It's confusing
tax
to me.
Code chapter.
I can tell you, Sherman Antitrust Act is in 15. Maybe the tax is in 15.
Oh, it's 26.
Okay, there you go.
Well, it's hard, guys. Okay, 26. Here we go. So, U.S. Code, got it. Okay, 26 U.S. Code 501, exemption from tax on corporations and certain trusts. An organization described in Section C or D of Section 401A shall be exempt from tax under this subtitle unless the exemption is denied. Okay. The list of exempt organizations. The following organizations are referred to in subsection A. Any corporation organized under the Act of Congress, which is instrumentality of the U.S., but only if such corporation is exempt. So this one isn't that. So that's 501C. And then we've got 3, which people think of. Organized, operated exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, testing, or public safety, literary, or educational purposes. Okay.
Right.
So national interest. And then this one is, or to foster national international sports competition. This is the U.S. competitive teams. So this is like U.S. soccer. This one is U.S. soccer, Olympic team, stuff like that. 4, civil leagues. Okay. 5, labor, agriculture, horticultural. 6, here we go. Business leagues, chambers of commerce, real estate boards, boards of trade, or professional football leagues. Wow. All right, there it is, right there. Boom. Professional football leagues, whether or not administering a pension fund for football players, not organized for profit, and no part of the net earnings of which inures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. Mind you, the PGA Tour distributed $838 million to players last year, in 2022, from the $1.522 billion that it gained in revenue. That was the PGA.
I was thinking, does Green Bay Packers qualify under that section?
Because they're not a football team?
No, because the nature of their ownership. Because are they owned
by players?
They're owned by fans broadly.
Ooh, but they don't distribute earnings straight out to the fans.
I don't think so. I don't know. Is it Sackett versus EPA? Someone said it was Sackett versus EPA.
So 1.52 billion flows through this industry. 838 million goes out to the players. That's a pretty significant amount of money that's not being taxed at all. And that's kind of what we're talking about. You're still trying to make sense of this.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this language from Justice Thomas because he talked about this concept recently, and I think I can make it make sense.
Here's something that's not being reported. Well, it's kind of being reported, but not a whole lot. The PGA Tour is now very suddenly interested in sealing a lot of the court record.
But they are.
And this is what a lot of people aren't talking about. PGA Tour comes to this announcement right when discovery was at its peak. The Saudis lost discovery motions to preclude depositions. The PGA lost discovery motions to preclude definitions. They were about to start exchanging massive amounts of financial information. That was going to get leaked by one side or the other. There's no protective order that's holding that back. Congress was investigating. This thing was a shitstorm. Again, not-for-profit entity. However, I imagine that Jay Monahan rides around on not a commercial airline and drives a car that's not a, Honda Accord. And I imagine he has a pretty healthy amount of money flowing into for his benefit. So the PGA Tour goes about doing this. They, along with the Saudis, when they agreed to this, they filed a statement in support of a sealing motion, wondering whether all of these materials should be sealed from the public record. So pursuant to these codes and the protective order, they provide a renewed statement of the applicable legal standard and reason for keeping under seal portions of 3 documents that plaintiff and counter-defendant provisionally filed under seal in connection with the opposition. On May 5th, LIV filed an administrative motion to consider whether another party's material should be sealed regarding the provisionally sealed memorandum of points of authorities. So this one dealt with the exhibits that LIV was trying to introduce regarding their contracts and information about PGA. Then the tour filed another supporting sealing memorandum regarding their motion, saying, please seal all these redacted memos. Court denied it, but without prejudice. And then the court says, you guys can renew your motion if you so choose. The disclosure of this information could result in competitive harm to the tour and for privacy interests of the non-parties. Specifically, the tour seeks to seal the following information. A letter from a non-party to the tour that describes the tour's communication practices and efforts to comply with a non-party inquiry. Okay. Disclosure document reveal internal investigative priorities of the third party and the business strategy of the tour, as well as injure the privacy rights of agents. I don't see a lot of this as being like quote unquote protectable. Now, the judge sides with them, so highlighted portions, they redact all of this, non-final transcript deposition of the tour employee. So now we're in tour practices that are focused on anti-competitive conduct.
Yeah.
The entire lawsuit was anti-competitive conduct, and they're
like,
don't.
Well, yeah, because we're not going to let you leave our tour and go to their tour. That's pretty anti-competitive.
Yep. So they're saying we gave this deposition. Don't let anybody see this, especially like the DOJ. Maybe just saying, don't just please seal it. Additional communication between employees and external consultants. Okay, they argue it. And what do we have? The judge grants the motion.
Yeah.
So we're sealed.
Yeah.
Until today. Good old media. Notice of motion and motion for non-party media entity, the New York Times Company, for an order to intervene and for an order unsealing court records supporting memorandum and points of authorities. So New York Times is like, hold up. Wait, we want it. Kurt, can you help me by reading some of this?
I'm still trying to read. Okay, but I'll switch over and read your thing. That's fine. All right, where am I? Section 1?
Yeah.
Okay, great. This motion is made upon the following grounds. It is well established the press has standing to assert the public's and its own right of access to sealed court records. Fair. Under the First Amendment and federal common law, the press and the public have a presumptive right of access to judicial records. Fair. There is not a countervailing interest sufficient to overcome the public's First Amendment and common law rights of access here, and the extent of sealing the records is not narrowly tailored to serve such interests. Yeah, I mean, there's a presumption of open access before the courts, right? We're public courts, the right to a public trial. And the idea that the courts are open to everybody. You can go into a courthouse and see what's happening. It's part of the function of government, and you can see what they're doing. So that makes sense. This motion is based upon the attached memorandum of points of authorities, all pleadings, records, and papers on file, all matters which the court may take judicial notice. Judicial notice is a legal term. It means the court taking as true a particular fact by their own initiative. It's a fact that has to be basically undisputable. But that's what judicial notice is. And such further evidence and arguments that may present on the hearing. For reasons sets forth, the Times respectfully requests the court to grant this motion to intervene. Yeah, that makes logical sense. That's all good.
So the Times is like, listen, we want to see this. And this is happening at the same time the DOJ is going, we want to investigate.
Yeah.
I think Congress has good reason to look at 501c6.
Well, you're going to get a lot of people very unhappy with it.
The amount of money. So how much the NFL is not for profit, right? So NFL revenue 2022, $18 billion. MLB revenue 2022.
That's a lot of not profit.
Yep, $10.3 billion. NBA revenue 2022, $10 billion. NHL, let's see, NHL. $5.2 billion. That is a lot of money that flows through. And the thing is, once it goes into that entity, they can spend that money to put the commissioners, the chairpersons, the board of those leagues, they can put them on private jets, they can put them in hotel rooms, they can give them accommodations, they can give them vehicles that drive them around, they can give them private security, they can give them a lot. You're right, Mama Bear. Revenue is not profit. They're not allowed to disclose profit. There's no profit. There isn't any profit. There isn't any profit. So it gets paid out or reinvested. If the not-for-profit reinvests it in the company, in the NFL, they don't book it as profits. They just carry it forward. For example, pension funds, retirement funds for employees, retirement for board members. These are not profit-based things. The company isn't showing profits. They have created a massive loophole, and they have been utilizing this loophole for decades. And it's funny when you talk about like everyone's desire to go after millionaires and billionaires, right? NFL no longer nonprofit. They're expressly carved out. Did the NFL?
I seem to vaguely recall they did make some public announcement about giving up their non-for-profit status. You might be right.
They must have voluntarily done it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So they're tax exempt. They are expressly tax exempt. They must have voluntarily done it. Yeah, they voluntarily ended it in 2015.
There you go.
There's the NFL. So good for them.
I'm sure
MLB, NBA.
They just restructured to avoid the problem. Yeah, the NFL is no longer for profit, but I'm sure they restructured it to do exactly what they were doing before. I have no confidence that actually was a meaningful change.
Non-profit.
I'm in a skeptical spirit today.
Two different things. The two different things, not for profit.
All right. I give up.
They're different semantics, but not really.
Wait, no, maybe it's.
Julia, I've looked at the reports on this one. They gave it up because, well, they were under some intense scrutiny. When Congress comes in and threatens and says, we're going to change the code, you're like, oh no, we're not going to do it.
I have failed. I did my best to read in the background. As I was trying to pay attention to you and everything else, and I have failed to find the language I needed. So I apologize to the chat. I couldn't pull it up. I have failed as an uncivil. I'm sorry.
You didn't fail, buddy. This isn't what the question is. It's not about donations. No, you don't get to write off money that you contribute to 501c6, but it's money that flows in that if they reinvest it in that entity, they don't ever have to pay tax on it. So when you pay for a ticket, for example, you pay a sales tax, right? But every dollar of that ticket that goes straight to the NFL and just the NFL or just one of these organizations, take the PGA Tour. Let's just stick with that. You buy a ticket to go see a PGA Tour event. Some of the money goes to the venue. Some of it goes to the to sales tax. Some goes to fees and stuff like that. There's an amount of that ticket price that goes straight to the PGA, the entity, the PGA. You don't get to write that off. You're right. But the PGA doesn't have to record that as a profit as long as they maintain it on their books going forward towards the payment of a pension for the players or a pension for the board owners or towards a private jet that the CEO or the chief executive officer or COO rides on to go from place to place to place. Not for profit and nonprofit entities, they take money and they use different provisions that allow them to spend that money in a year and still not record a profit at the end of the year. So it's pretty kind of nasty what they do.
I unfailed. I found it. It was on page 59. All right, hold on. All right. So yeah, we can. You can. I shared it. All right. So this is from Sackett versus EPA. This is Justice Thomas's dissent. Yeah, or Justice Thomas's concurrence. So that's one of the reasons, because I was looking at dissenting opinions and not concurring opinions initially, but I found it. Anyways, so they're talking about the Clean Water Act. And they say, what happened with the Clean Water Act is indicative of deeper problems with the court's Commerce Clause jurisprudence. The eclipse of Congress's well-defined authority over channels of interstate commerce tracks the court's expansion power to regulate commerce for foreign nations among several states with Indian tribes. As I've explained at length, the court's Commerce Clause jurisprudence has significantly departed from the original meaning of the Constitution. The clause's text, structure, and history all indicate at the time of the founding the term commerce consisted of selling, buying, and bartering, as well as transporting. This meaning stood in contrast to productive activities. And founding era sources demonstrate the term commerce was constantly used to mean trade or exchange, not all economical activity that's gained some attenuated connection to the exchange. So this is the same philosophy the Supreme Court was writing that 9-0 decision from, that was blowing my complete mind, right? Instead of commerce being understood as we understand it now to be all the things, it only consists of selling, buying, and bartering, which presumably baseball doesn't qualify in sort of its normal sense. So it is just a product of activity that is not within the Commerce Clause. So Justice Thomas was coming up with a similar concept. So I think my mind has unbeen blown.
Do you know what that would do to all statutes that have been passed in the last 60 years?
Yeah. More than that.
Complete and utter destruction.
More than
Federal power would be ultimately like it just. I'm not like being hyperbolic here.
Yeah.
100% destroyed.
We're going to have to take huge chunks out of the criminal code. A lot of Title 18 is going to disappear.
Because a lot of that is founded on commerce authority, crossing state lines.
Right. So yeah. So Justice Thomas here, if he's right, and the Supreme Court was right in that 9-0 opinion, because I think they're talking about the similar concepts. If they're right, like a lot of the federal code goes bye-bye.
Oh, just gone. See ya.
Yeah. So it took me a second to find it, but this is the language I was looking for to differentiate different kinds of things as being within and without Commerce Clause authority.
Yeah.
Okay,
Ian, we're sports ball for like 5 more minutes, like 2 more minutes, not even. Yeah. What a nightmare, though. So PGA is going, we feel confident. Here's why the PGA feels confident. Tell me which 51 senators, and what's the number right now? You need 178
for the House.
Yeah,
there's 435 members of the House, so you need
218. 218. So you need 218 in the House and 51 senators. Who's going to take on the PGA? At the end of the day,
nobody. I don't see either party really getting their feet dirty on this one. I don't know who's more likely between the parties to do anything about it, to be honest.
And that's the problem. The DOJ is going to investigate, and the DOJ has prosecutorial discretion. They can basically say, we think it'd be more harmful than good to prosecute this antitrust litigation. But you know what? We'll go after Microsoft and all of that. We'll go after that. But we're not going to touch sports ball.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the merger goes through, even though it makes absolutely no logical sense.
That's what I'm going to. I think it's going through.
You're probably right.
I don't see the administration blocking it.
You're probably right.
What are they going to do? They're going to block it, and then we're back to square one. They don't want the litigation going on, because then that makes them question 501c6, and they're like, I don't want to question that. That's a really hard question. Why do I have to answer that question?
I don't know if it makes them question C6 or not, because Congress is allowed to make the choice. So Congress doesn't have to justify its choice. It's because it is. I mean, you can't sue for it being unconstitutional, I don't think.
No, they don't have to justify their choice, but which congressperson is going to, which 218 and 51 senators are going to stand up and be like, in unison, and say, I'm going to go back to my constituents and say, oh, I'm sorry, no more golf. Because the PGA's lobby is going to, the thing is about 501c6.
I seriously doubt that that's true. This is the threat, but I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true. I don't think that the elimination of C6 means no more golf, football, or anything else.
No. I agree with you. But the PGA and MLB and NBA and all these other entities, 501c6 does not exempt. I mean, they can use money that flows in there, and they can spend it for campaigns, for political speech.
Sure. Yeah.
And if you put the 1.52 billion against, you think they won't stack the deck? Look what they did against LIV.
I think it was more like what LIV did to them, to be honest.
Well,
LIV had
that's the other thing. Now the PGA Tour.
You know who has more money than the PGA? The
Saudis. And that's the other thing. The Saudis are now like, we want this merger to go through, and the Saudis are like, hey, U.S. government.
But if the U.S. government has balls, you know who has even more money? The U.S. government. It's like, if the U.S. government has balls, they have all the money. So it's like, they make the money. They literally print it.
I get it, but the Saudis have always, and this administration has already stepped in with the Saudis like 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. You're going to offend the Saudis on this one? I see in prosecutorial discretion, I think they should. I think they should block this merger. I think it needs to be blocked. I think that it is asinine to think of this as anything other than purely anti-competitive, should be completely blocked, but they're not going to do it because they're in the back, because they're politicians, man. Survival is the only thing they know.
Yeah.
Is that sad? Yes.
I'll go back to law. It's slightly less confusing.
Oh, so freaking frustrating. Let's talk about our favorite crypto.
Oh, but I want to talk about something else as a little palate cleanser in between.
Oh, do this. Let's do that. Yes, please.
I want to talk about something else as a palate cleanser in between. We covered a story this week, or maybe it was last week at this point, that was out of your field, family law, about a lawyer in the family law. And this lawyer found a whole new strategy as a family law lawyer to win the cases. Do you know what the whole new strategy is?
No.
Okay, so the lawyer just started writing up and signing his own judgments, including judgments to have the other party give half their money and $2,500 a month in support. He just wrote them and signed them himself.
I need to swoop. We need to swoop, and then we're gonna do funny swoop.
That's funny.
Swoop.
That's pretty funny, Rob. That's pretty funny.
He wrote his own judgments.
Yeah, he just wrote his own judgments. He was writing his own child custody orders, writing his own alimony orders, writing his own final divorce decrees.
Nope.
Himself.
Nope. Like he was like, just, he was personally. Like, I am judge now. I am judge.
Yeah. Apparently the federal government frowned on that and said lawyers now going to jail for 2 years.
Well, I found a story last week that you're going to laugh about this one. Well, not laugh about it.
I thought this might be valuable CLE information for you.
Well, I've got similar
as a practicing attorney, because now I have one simple trick, Rob. One simple trick. Your opposition hates it. Just do this one simple trick. You can win all the cases.
Well,
do you like lumber law? Do you like lumber more than law? Because I can help you with doing more lumber than law. This one simple trick will bring up way more time for lumber related tasks.
Well, hang on. So I had a similar story. This one's great.
Okay.
Not great. It's not great. This is depressing, but it's not
Okay,
that depressing.
yeah, you swoop by, push the button. That's right.
You push the button. Okay. So
Yeah.
District of Columbia, this attorney, Christopher D. Libertelli. So he was former vice president of Netflix.
Uh-huh.
Former VP of Netflix.
A suspended member of the bar. Things don't seem to be going great in his world.
Not great. So the board disciplines him for various behaviors. Among those behaviors, and the funny thing was, I actually had to look back because this was just affirmed, and I was going,
Oh, he's
where am I
disbarred.
seeing
And
this reporting?
That's very sad.
It's very well. It's straightforward. Wait. I was like looking at this and saying, it's so quick. This is like a couple of paragraphs. Why did he do?
What did he do? Was it just a minor bookkeeping error?
Possibly do? No. It related to his conduct in divorce and custody proceedings. Where he lied under oath during testimony, lied representation made. The court fabricated material that altered scores of drug tests, financial records.
Oh, that's interesting. How did you do that?
We get there. We're gonna get there. Where was the facts? Give me the facts. Here we go. Procedural history. I don't want that. I want the facts. Give me the facts. Exhibits, factual summary. The charges against Mr. Libertelli involve what he now admits are scores of intentional misrepresentations he made in a divorce and custody proceedings over a period of almost 3 years. Misrepresentations made overwhelmingly, but not entirely, to conceal his use and purchase of drugs, primarily opioids, cocaine, and marijuana, which is a major issue in the case. He lied under oath as a witness in the divorce proceedings. He made non-sworn false statements both directly to the court, for example, in the course of acting pro se, and indirectly when his counsel conveyed his false information. Ouch. He falsified numerous drug test results and fabricated financial records that he produced to his wife's counsel, and in many instances offered or caused or allowed these fabricated documents to be entered into evidence without informing the court they were fabricated.
I hope this doesn't imply that we're going after all the lawyers with addiction issues, because if that's what that means, the bar is going to be a lot smaller.
I just love without informing the court that they were fabricated. Court, we'd like to tender this document. It's false.
Totally
this document
false.
is a forgery. I would like to tender it for the court's attention.
I'm taking the opiates I'd like to bring to the court's attention, just FYI.
Yep.
Opiates are fun. Would Your Honor like to do some highballs with me afterwards in the chamber?
Okay. So from 96 to 99 or 2000, he worked as an associate as Dow Loans and Albertson. And then 2001 to 2005. I bet
that firm was just thrilled about being named in this judgment.
It gets better. From 01 to 05, he worked for the FCC. Even better.
Also happy to be named in this judgment.
From 05 to 11, he worked as at Skype as Senior Director of Government Affairs. From 11 to 17, he worked for Netflix as Vice President of Global Public Policy. And then he was General Counsel for Carrier Exchange, Carrier X. In 2008, while he was working at Skype, he married this individual, Yuki Noguchi. They had 2 boys born. We're going to go through that. They were divorced as part of divorce and custody proceedings that respectively began in Montgomery County, Maryland in 14 and 15 and subsequently consolidated. All righty. So they enter into an agreement that addresses custody and visitation. Now, going back, she said that the separation was because of intervention based on his drug use. Okay. So the agreement said that mom is going to get custody and dad gets supervised visitation. All right. He's the drug use.
Is the supervision to prevent him from using drugs?
Yeah, it's to make sure he's
clean.
Make sure he's
clean,
sub cloud level.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know he was a junkie because heroin is so passé.
Really, he should be below knee level. If he's getting anywhere close to high as balls, he's out.
Oh my God.
Did that not work for anybody? Did my lyric not work?
No, it worked.
Okay,
it worked.
Right,
I'm with both of you guys. You guys are good.
All right, we're here to help.
He agrees to be evaluated and subject to travel accommodations to be drug tested twice a week. So he misses and fails 3 consecutive tests. All right. So continue the order. Good. Now we got from April
batting 100
to November of 2014. Gets the drug test from the attorney that tests positive for drugs more than 20 times during the course of the evaluation. That is from April to November of 2014.
Respect.
That's just impressive in terms of the amount.
That's only like 7 months.
That's
so was he doing these tests like every other week and he's failing every time?
And there were gaps in testing.
That's impressive in terms of the amount of of drugs he's consuming.
Again, what is the principle here? Are we disciplining every lawyer who's on drugs?
Well, this is kind of where we get to the discipline part.
Yeah.
So he lives in Montgomery County, or she lives in Montgomery County. He lives in D.C.
They could rewrite my "I Like Steak" song for drugs. I like drugs, drugs in my stomach. I like drugs, drugs for me. I like drugs, drugs in my stomach. Drugs make me so happy.
You know, if he's failing that much, I'm going to venture that the drugs probably weren't going in his stomach. Just saying.
So
probably
December
moved
14th,
on to other means.
2014. He asked for additional access to the kids. Now he wants overnights. So at the hearing, they said he has a history of drug abuse.
You think there's a children's discount for drugs? Is it like one of those buffets you go to, kids under 6 get drugs free? Is that how that works?
Uh-huh. So then he says, I did lie that I haven't used, and I didn't correct the statement. All right, fine. You said you lied, you didn't correct it. Okay, maybe. But then he's saying he got more painkillers than he was prescribed. So he's saying, I'm still doing all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then he says that he testifies he didn't drive. Testified that he used drug 2015. All right. Now we start to go to how he's starting to make up how he got the drugs.
Wait. He said that someone who someone who's worked on his team lived on the corner at 8th and Benning. So someone who worked on his team is his drug dealer?
No. So he's trying to say. So the lawyers confront him and they say, "Look, bud, you've got numerous ATM withdrawals of hundreds of dollars from locations that are far away from where you actually live. What are you taking out cash for all the way out there?" And he says, "Hold up. I've got someone on a team who lives on this location and would take him home and he'd pay him in cash."
No, I think when he said someone who lived on the corner, he meant on the corner very literally.
Yeah.
So
this is my corner.
Yeah. That's
Phil.
Phil.
Records reflect. So between two different numbers, odd hours, 1,500, blah, 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 linked to the drug use. Said he wouldn't continue the drug use. Developed dependency. Yeah, exactly. Gets emergency motion. Now we've got all these other things, and he starts falsifying information.
Because of
course. Look at the reports. Hang on.
You knew that was going to happen. Come on.
So we're not going to all of this. He just keeps on going. Then he said, I'm on Suboxone. Apparently he's not. So Suboxone shows up as an opiate in your system. But so I think
why doesn't he just say he eats a lot of poppy seed bagels?
Oh, I don't think that's going to work with the amount.
Because they'd order him not to.
Poppy seed bagels are fun. They're legal.
I have seen court orders that say this party is not to consume any products containing poppy seeds. That's
some bullshit. That's an affront to my freedom.
It was in a similar kind of situation where somebody's like, hey, I want my kids. And it's like, you got to stop using the drugs. They're like, no, it's just bagels. It's like, okay, you're not allowed bagels either. And therefore, if it comes back next time, we're assuming it's drugs because nobody would lose their kids for a bagel.
Do you think this judge,
good bagel?
Maybe it's a really good bagel. Have you had some of the bagels in New York? They can be high quality bagels.
Do you think this judge wants to take
get some cream cheese on it, or maybe some lox? It's a way to go, man.
Do you think this judge
I mean, he could still
wants
have
to
bagels,
take
just not puppies
this
and
statement
bagels.
back?
Mm-hmm.
He made progress on getting his addictions under control.
I actually suspect that there's a lot more addicts who are functional and relatively stable.
Oh, I believe that for sure.
I would agree.
And who are employed. Because I've long said, like, if you take the average courthouse and you just suddenly, like, flooded it with cops and grabbed every lawyer and judge and started checking their pockets.
All right. So
you'd make
but
the
here's
news.
and you're right. So Ian, the judge trusts him. November 9th, 2016, the judge says, all right, you're going to get access. We're going to monitor and supervise until you have 4 consecutive urine tests.
Where does he buy the urine?
Mm.
Does it say where he buys it? Is it Urine Mart?
Does he do the dark web urine?
The funniest things is when people fail their urine tests with purchased urine, because as it turns out, the people who are at a place in their life where they're selling piss to make money are not necessarily people with stable,
here's
situations.
what the judge says, which I've heard several judges say, and I agree with. So the court closed the order by telling the attorney, you have an incentive to stay clean. Unsupervised time with the boys, if everything goes as expected, will occur by the end of February in 4 months. So the prospect of resuming a normal relationship with them, I think, is on the horizon, and don't mess it up. During the testimony of the disciplinary hearing, the attorney takes a different approach by saying the judge was approaching addiction as something that can be addressed by creating incentives to be clean, and particularly for leaving the lawyers, blah, 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 in charge of the drug test results. You should never put, quote, you should never put a drug addict in charge of his other drug tests. Like, that is crazy. There is nobody in the recovery community that will say that's a legitimate thing to do. That is the position my lawyers put me in. I don't mean to say that shifts the responsibility at all. Like, I did this. This is my problem. This is my making, but it was the context.
Okay. Noted.
So he blames the judge, says, why did you put me in this position of giving me the opportunity to get closer to my kids?
Wow.
So he falsified from August of 2016.
Don't worry, nobody's going to make that mistake again.
Oh, no. Yeah. From August of 2016 to November of 2017, he falsified at least 62 of his drug tests, and 5 times presented drug test, quote, results as if he had taken the test that he did not. So the falsified drug test is likely purchased urine.
No, I think because there's actual records for actual tests. That's the next line. So this seems to imply that he's just dummying up some records at home on his laser printer.
Oh, yeah. So here he goes. Altered the results by switching the results from oxycodone in 36 tests and oxymorphone from 40. Dude, 36 from positive to negative.
So they let this guy just bring in his own scores?
Yeah. You bring in the
47 occasions he tested positive for cocaine.
Because where I am, like, if you're a drug ordered testing, they want that going directly to the court.
Yeah.
Here's the scary part.
He said
that at the time he thought of it as choosing my role as a father over my role as a lawyer, and in what he called his addled state perceived the benefit of preserving constant access to my boys as outweighing the cost.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there is a point to be had there. So I'll in attempting to devil's advocate this, I will point out that he is recognizing that his children are even more important than his law practice. So there's something honorable in that.
Because what he's saying is about lying to the court.
I did it for my kids, which is more important than you, court.
I falsified the records.
We can make that work. Yeah,
I falsified the records for my kids.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with yes.
I mean, again, to be fair, there's probably a lot of very competent parents who are also drugged out of their minds. I don't know
Well,
if he falls in that category, but
I would say there's tons.
yeah.
I mean, wine mom is a whole thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I've done everything to meet the requirements. I've prioritized my recovery and drug testing over my job and other obligations.
No, you haven't.
This is what he's saying.
Or he's not very good at it, which I understand as a person who deals with weight issues, that even when you feel like you're trying, it can be really hard sometimes. So I have a little bit of sympathy in my heart because
I have weight understand.
Problems.
This is a sickness and it's just not being addressed. And to some extent, the court should have caught this. That's why I said, like, when the court's saying you've made more progress than others, I'm going to give you this chance.
Yeah.
That's why I said, does the judge think about like eating these words? So we are on page 23 of 170 pages.
That's a good sign.
That's a little bit more detailed than this. Like, disbarred. Yeah. So I saw that when you made the comment about like the that was a tough read, man. That was hard to read.
Yeah.
Because the longer it went on, I don't know. Do we need a palate cleanser?
I could tell you a story about another attorney who got in trouble recently. If we want to do a little trifecta here.
Hit me with that one.
Okay. So there was an attorney recently who is expected to plead guilty, who got into trouble for using the client monies with relation to gambling.
That's it.
They used the client monies for the gambling. As it turned out, it was $8 million.
Excuse me, what?
$8 million.
Oh no!
I need to meet his clients.
Yes, I saw this article. I almost pulled
the
this
lawyer
today.
moved. The lawyer moved into the Wynn, Las Vegas, for 6 months, and apparently was gambling every moment they weren't sleeping. So,
see, I've never really understood the fun of this because, to me, losing $8 million doesn't feel like a lot of fun. I can think of a lot of other things I could do with $8 million that are more fun than that.
She withdrew $132,000 from her company's bank account to buy a Porsche.
See, that's more fun.
Yeah.
And then after you blow up the rest of your life in the way they have, you can just drive that Porsche off a cliff, and that's probably a sensible life choice at that point.
Freaking wild.
like, I know attorneys who will have a heart attack because, the checks were processed in the wrong order, and, the account is out of balance by like $30 or something.
Well,
and this person's over. Yeah. And this person's over here with $8 million.
It ruined my entire day because the bank gave me a $400 error in my favor. And that ruined my entire day.
I've talked about this before, like where like the bank, my bank didn't recognize my account as an IOLTA and actually like collected interest. It was like $3.52. And fixing that issue was a nightmare unlike anything I ever want to deal with again. Like ever.
The $400 thing was literally they credited me twice for a check that was a client check. And they're just like, oh, you keep it. And I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You need to take that back and you need to write me a letter apologizing for your screw up. So, yeah.
But apparently this lawyer's over here with $8 million. So I guess we don't need to be that concerned after all.
Well, they did get disbarred, but I figure that there's a lot of things you could do with that $8 million that are like, that's like move to some island and live comfortably for the rest of time. Money.
Yeah.
And I figure, I mean, yeah. So
I knew I'd get away with it. I turned in my law license for $8 million. You could have it with a bow on top.
I
You
don't
know?
know,
Well, if
man.
somebody
Maybe
said,
was
hey,
a lot of
$1 million
incentive.
if somebody said, hey,
That's a
Runkle,
lot.
I'll buy your YouTube channel and your law practice for $8 million, I'd be like, sure, just make the check out to cash. And so, yeah.
Hang on, I'm trying to download my palate cleanser. Give me one.
Push the button.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Ian push the button. Ian push the button.
I pushed the
Hang on.
button. I have
Yeah,
button
that was
pushing
what Ian-
authority.
I don't know why I ever gave you that. The thing is, I'm glad I revoked your access to like adding content pushing authority.
You know, actually, I could also use some tips from the audience since we have so many people here and so many of them are women. I would really like to use some sort of new powder to help with the like glow issue. This isn't really working for me where I get this reflection from the key light. So women of the channel, what would be a good simple powder that I could use that I could put on that would get rid of the glow and help look relatively natural? So could you recommend the best product for this skin tone?
Do not take any product recommendations from Trudeau.
Yes. Well, I was thinking something more in a lighter shade or transparent.
You know, so I did. Here's our palette cleanser. Let me see. Video file. Here we go. Do you guys like baby cows?
I do like baby cows. I particularly like them when they're in my stomach.
Hey, look at me in the face. Look at me. You're looking for a pet, and I'm looking for a home. I'm an orphan. You're looking to adopt. I think we can work out a deal that'll mutually benefit both of us.
I don't think you'd like my deal.
You called your 2-month-old baby cow over for dinner?
Cowie.
What?
The name is Cowie.
Cowie the cow?
I mean,
like it.
I've also called cows over for dinner.
Come here. You want dinner? What's this?
Yes, I would like dinner, please. May I please have some dinner?
Okay, that little gremlin.
It's so cute, Ian. How do you not like that?
I mean, that would get really old real fast.
Oh, I agree 1000%. But also, it's cute.
It is
It's
cute.
a little gremlin.
It's just you hope it stops doing it before too long.
But I did find out how you can get even with Zora.
Oh God. There is no
You-
getting even with Zora. She keeps accounts and she makes sure she's ahead.
But do you want to see my idea or no?
Mm-hmm. Is it a
Okay.
catapult?
It's not. It's pretty good.
Is it a cow depult?
Oh, I love that one. No, but this one's fantastic. How to get even with Zora. Let's see. I had it saved.
I like how Rob interrupted my solicitation for makeup tips. which is
No,
immediately-
I said it was a great solicitation. And I think the chat is perfectly poised to do that.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
chat's giving advice.
Yeah, I saw some Bare Minerals seems to be a popular choice. Some people
Yeah.
like to see the translucent fit finishing powder. I had the stuff from Krylon, I think is the name of the company. They do like professional makeup. They made a translucent powder I had for a while. That was pretty good. Maybe I should get some
Yeah.
of that Krylon powder again.
See, I didn't intend to interrupt entirely. I thought the chat did a good job.
Yeah.
This is how you get back at a dog for being rude to you.
Oh God, I could never do that to Zora.
Yes, you could.
No, I couldn't.
Yes, you could.
That's just straight up animal abuse.
Nope, you can absolutely do this to Zora.
God knows she would crap everywhere in vengeance. That poor dog. Man, if I sent my dog off to a groomer and the dog came back like that, I'd be going to court.
I mean, unless it was asked for, this is the thing. Like, what if
In
Mrs.
what
Ruckle
universe
did
would
that
I
to
ask
torture
for
you?
this? Like,
I'm sorry. Was your question in what universe would you torture Rob?
no, in what universe would I ask for that?
Oh, okay.
I mean, there are universes. There's one more. Oh, there was a nope rope that got into a shop. For those of you who don't know what a nope rope is, you're going to discover.
Right up top. Right up top.
That's not a python.
Holy shit.
Yeah. No, just walk away. Walk far, far away. That-
Gasoline and fire. Just
Watch this.
Where's his head at?
I don't know. I can't see his head.
wrong answer.
Yeah, that's.
Run away. Run away.
Put that back on.
Nope.
Hey,
Nope.
don't- yeah, I need a little space because I got,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna open it this way.
yeah. All right, cool. We're gonna let him be the sacrificial lamb. This big motherfucker
That's a
snake.
big motherfucker.
Oh my God. There's no world that I am going anywhere near close to that
The
thing.
head
He
is
was
in
over
there.
there by the.
It's in there.
The head is in there by the head of the. Oh, he finna piss him off. Yeah, he definitely alive.
See, what I would probably be doing at this point is taking the cover off
Hey, move your
and
feet.
then just leaving it
Hey,
alone.
move your feet.
Let it
Watch
sit.
Back up.
Oh, one thing you ain't got to worry about is me not back. Oh, look at this son bitch. Oh.
By the way, the dude holding the camera is 1000% my energy right now. Like he's like, nope, nope, nope.
Tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking bike.
Don't do this dumb ass trash can. He
Push him in there. Push him.
Man, that's like 6 snakes in there, bro. That is not one snake, bro. That's definitely 2.
There's his head. That's what I want. I want his head out.
I don't like this story anymore. Let's watch something else.
Oh, he mad. He mad
Yeah,
that
he's
son
dead.
bitch.
He's dead now. Him and Smokey here.
Hey, bro, make sure
He's
you
out.
get him in the truck. I'm gone. I'm
No,
gone.
no, no, no.
I'm about to go.
coming down the
I'm
side.
about to go. Move. Hey, get from fucking behind me, man. Shit. What you behind me for?
You need like some far-reaching
Man,
claw.
fuck
You can reach in there from like 6 feet away.
Bam, we right here.
Trash can.
Hey,
This feels like the snake is about to pop out and bite someone on the face any moment now.
Yeah, we're gonna go here. We'll go to something more pleasant. Something more pleasant. A palate cleanser, if you will.
I don't like that story, Rob.
Don't worry, we have a better one.
Do we?
We do.
No. Lola, no.
All right, one more, and then I will have satisfied like my TikTok, like just a little bit of binging. Well, maybe there's 2 more because the last one, the last one is like a depressing thing, but we'll play that later.
I don't want to be
I
depressed.
shorted. I shorted
Where'd you shart?
in my pants.
You sure? You know what a shart is? Tell me what a shart is.
It's a. You think it's a rooter tube, but it is a rooter tube, but the rooter tube goes out and it splats.
He's right. Yeah, that's correct.
That is the correct legal definition.
It is. And fucking kids. You know, I had a 4-year-old the other
Top
day.
points on his LSAT or on his exam there.
I had a 4-year-old the other day literally look at me in the face and dead ass, straight face said, sometimes you got to take one for the team. And I was like, you are 4 years old. Where are you learning stuff like this? You got to take one for the team.
And which team? And what are you taking?
Like,
you know what? We're just not going to do that math.
No, it was like on like ice cream. Like I get ice cream, you have to feed it to me. Sometimes you got to take one for the team. Get out of here, kid. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. The last one, and it's a cop one. Ian, this is for you. Still a cop or not still a cop?
we all know the answer.
We know the answer. This is the worst
Everyone's
game
favorite.
show.
Oh God, this is the 4th time you've done that. Hang on. I know. Oh God, this is the 4th time you've done that. Hang on. I know. I'm pulling over. Yep.
Okay, that's got to be from a comedy show.
That was his taser.
No, that's not accurate.
I don't care if it's accurate or not. Still a cop, was a cop,
from a
is a
comedy
cop,
show.
is ever a cop, or is just for comedy.
That's a comedy show.
Okay. Then we're happy.
Yeah, for the people asking, is that real? It is not real.
There's no way that's real. Like
I don't like Rob.
the whole
I don't-
shock, you have to grab the trigger.
I don't
and-
like Rob as much as I did 15 minutes ago. I have to be honest. My esteem for Rob has gone down.
Why? I didn't do anything.
For the people wondering how you can tell that's not real, a couple points. First of all, the holster covers the trigger. So he'd have to actually draw it up in order for that to happen, not just
get scientific.
Second of all, he's trying to talk through being tased, and that's just not a thing.
You
like
can't.
that whole
no, you
so
can't.
all of that
Like,
is just
you're seizing.
Yeah, and also the whole thing about that's the 4th time. Nah. No.
Well, I also saw like the actual picturing of like my literal nightmare. Let me mute this because there's music playing when I.
Oh, I've got the clown gif if you want your literal nightmare.
Nope.
Oh,
Like,
I know where, I
don't
know
want
where
that.
this is going.
Video.
I already know where this is going.
Kurt knows where this is going.
Oh no.
Oh, that's such a terrible. Yeah, I know where this is going.
Oh my God. And the dude just sits there and accepts his fate. He's trying to get in, like he's like, oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's so bad.
I like how the door's locked, so he can't even get in.
He's like, I can't get it. Yeah, that's bad.
Somebody's commenting that's alcohol abuse.
It is. It's 100% alcohol abuse. Wait,
Why was
one
that
sec.
shelving not secure? It reminds me of that video where someone's driving a forklift in a warehouse and bumps into something, and the entire warehouse basically falls down from one massive domino effect.
Yep, I was at a warehouse recently, and I was looking around going, if there was an earthquake here, this would be the worst possible place to be. Just all the things falling, and yeah, you would get crushed like an insect, and it would suck.
How are you doing, Ian?
Surviving.
Excellent.
I still have written submissions that I've got to get done, and they are pissing me off, but it is what it is. I have to write those, so I'm most of the way along. It's just I'm having a hard time focusing. So
Throw on some jokes.
throw on some jokes.
Yeah, throw some jokes in the footnotes. Spice it up a little.
Oh, well, I do kind of have a joke in.
All right.
I mean, it's accurate, but it's kind of it's kind of humorous as well.
Just write a footnote. Want to hear a joke? Canadian Supreme Court.
Well, so in the decision that I'm trying to challenge, they say that this firearm is similar to other firearms because it has a similar name.
No.
No.
Arose by any other name. I can call you Rob. It doesn't make it true.
So I'll read this paragraph and drop out a name. So is the Smith & Wesson MP15 VTAC similar in function or even shape to any of the firearms listed? That would be a matter for expert evidence rather than simply looking at the name and drawing a conclusion from thin air, and a conclusion that presumes the correctness of the identification. Mr. Blank, who is not my client but is unrelated and doesn't need to be on the video, certainly cannot be expected to attack the validity of the reasons for the classification when he was provided no reasons for the classification. And yet that is precisely what the trial judge does. And as an example of the issues with reasoning from a model name, the Glock 17 is a very common handgun, chambered in 9mm, and noted for its polymer design, and which is used by a wide variety of sport shooters and police forces.
And why is it called the Glock 17, Ian?
The Glock 1, on the other hand, is a doorknob.
Yeah.
It's called the Glock 17 because it was the 17th thing he made.
There you go.
With
17th patent, I believe, to be specific, but yes.
Yeah, with a bunch of equipment that he bought basically to try to make stuff for money.
Yeah.
So Glock 1 is a doorknob. Glock 2 is a curtain rod. I don't know about 3 through 15. 16 is a shovel, like an entrenching tool. And the reason why that's significant is because of the entrenching tool.
I should definitely get myself a Glock 1 through 16 just because it would be cool.
They're actually really hard to get.
I would imagine. There's got to be some collectors out there. It's like I got to have everything Glock ever made. I want all of them.
But
if anyone out there has a Glock 1 through 16 and would like to send it to my P.O. box, you can send it to me at P.O. box, which is located on my About page.
The reason why the Glock 16 was such a sort of leaping off point is because while he was selling that to the military, he actually heard that they needed a new handgun and was like, and they were complaining. They're like, all of these manufacturers are trying to meet our requirements and they're not even coming close. And he's like, can I try? And they went, sure, you giant moron who doesn't know anything about guns and has never made a gun before. You can try. And he comes back and
he made a gun that kicked everyone's ass.
And they were
close.
Like, he
wasn't even
won the
close.
competition. And it was
no failures. No failures. Everything perfect.
Well,
Kurt, can you do take backsies on the whole deliver a Glock to my P.O. box?
I said 1 through 16. They're not firearms.
That's okay.
1 through 6, like the Glock 1 is a doorknob.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's legal to mail a doorknob.
It's
I didn't hear that part. I didn't hear that part.
Okay.
I didn't hear that part. You can understand why I appreciate when I walk away and I hear Glock mail post office box.
Yeah. if you mail me 17 up, there would be several problems with that.
Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe don't do those things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, is my wine safe? I don't know. I'm very concerned right now. So
you
let
need
me
to
do
go
this
check right now.
I stole a bottle from Rob last time I was there, and he still hasn't noticed.
You really? Which one?
I'd say I stole some beer, except it was literally like, please have beer. So I don't know that counts as theft.
Yeah.
Beer is no, we're good. Let me think here. I gotta
Rob's like, you bastard, I'll get you.
No, I wouldn't. So I got to do some catch up. So some.
I think we were drinking some Twisted Teas together, me and Rob. That was fun.
did. We drank a lot of Twisted Teas together. They're fantastic.
Pretty solid.
Very refreshing. Great summer drink.
Yeah.
Before we leave the subject matter, we have to go through these. Favorite pie, cherry. Koru, I forgot to say sorry for my lateness. Being Canadian is problematic. No, it's not. It's great. We love Canadians and the lateness. Lady O'Grady, yeah, but the NBA and MLB are majority USA teams. International antitrust is still a thing. And the UK has laws against it, so does the European Union. Mary Coppola, thank you. 9/11 survivors groups are furious with Monahan over this. They're taking action, calling for boycotts at the venues for now. I saw that, and that's why Monahan, I think that's part of it, why he stepped down.
What's this?
Jay Monahan, remember the quote that I played last week where he was talking and implying, or the 9/11 victims, and saying you never have to feel guilty about playing golf for the PGA?
Oh, that's not good.
Uh-huh. And then came out and said the Saudis are great investors. We love them.
Oh, that's not good.
Uh-huh. And then this week they reported that he has a medical issue. Therefore is it's not operating. But yeah, a lot of people are really pissed. And Crazy Cat Queen hits this right. And I've never heard of cowardice being a medical issue. It is when it's severe enough.
We'll try that in the Parkland shooting defense. Try that he had a medical condition.
DC US 55, he threw out his back picking up the money.
I mean, that's my favorite way to throw out my back.
It's not the worst way.
Okay, second favorite.
Back. Wait, nope. Truffle, I'm pretty disappointed in the PGA purist reactions to the merger. New entity is anti-competitive, ? PGA was anti-competitive and punished players. Yeah, it's a whole thing where now the players, if the players felt like they were going to get punished before, now it's one league. So DOJ, like, do your job. Please don't take this one lightly. Like, seriously, please don't do it. Trufflehound again. Also, the anti-Saudi rhetoric and conspiracy BS is offensive and wildly hypocritical. Exactly. The PGA Tour received millions of dollars in sponsorships and people that were heavily invested with the Saudis. You just
Sorry.
Pam Bystrack, doesn't a nonprofit have to give their assets to charity when they stop being a nonprofit, or they can just run them into the ground, which is what they usually do?
They could always super chat, donating a little bit to Law and Lumber.
PGA
is always a good
Tour,
thing to do. If the PGA would like to donate to Law and Lumber,
you can donate to this channel, to Uncivil Law. Please donate as many gifted memberships to Uncivil Law as you possibly can.
Yes.
Let's do that all the way through.
Hey, what about me?
You too, Ian. You joined late. You get a lot of PGA Tour. You get live money. Cindy Calderon, on the verge of tears for 2 weeks. Mom with Alzheimer's took a sudden steep decline. Work is a nightmare. Lost my cat. FNF is helping me get through. Thank you, Cindy. I'm very sorry. Dude, the 2 weeks does not make a life. There are 2 weeks that can throw you some serious curveballs. You are in the thick of it. Work your way out of it. This too shall pass. Enjoy the times when you can. It is not a problem to laugh. You're still allowed to laugh even when you're going through the worst stuff.
Yeah.
So keep your head up. You'll make it. You'll do great. Trufflehound PGA Tour was a nonprofit. LOL. Yes, indeed. Heather, if the players don't like the new merged entity, can they leave and set up their own tour? Is there any reason they couldn't? Is it likely?
It's because it's real hard is why they couldn't. They might also have non-competes. I wonder about that.
How are they going to compete? And if the PGA says, no, you can't come back, what are they going to do? So the PGA screwed them. Trufflehound, by the way, that car analogy isn't really a hypothetical. Hello, Volkswagen. Oh, car analogy. Which one was the car analogy? Oh, yeah, Volkswagen. Ford buying up everybody else. Volkswagen. You're right. I was just trying to make something that made a little sense, or tried to show how anti-competitive practices work. Matthew Payton, speak of his knowledge and he will appear. Hi, Kurt.
Hi.
Diana B, LOL, NFL is a nonprofit. They were until 2015, apparently. Heather, how's the NFL a not-for-profit? Do you have a different definition of that in the U.S.? No, I explained that. I think I did okay with it. Yes, there's a difference between not-for-profit and non-profit, but not in respect to the tax code and how they're treated. Trufflehound, hound cynicism. This screams, do as I say and not as I do. USA invents and promotes globalization, then gets uncomfortable when the theory becomes reality. Kinda. They do that a bit. And they also kind of go back in the shelter and say, we're going to promote American and build American, and that's not the cheapest. There's a compromise and a balance to be struck. Debbie O, isn't that just a veiled threat? If you challenge this, your law firm will be interstate commerce. Maybe the Holmes opinion, where it was like, this is like a lawyer that goes between different states. I don't know. Maybe. Crazy Cat Queen, RE Baseball. I'm not sure that they had products in 1922. Like now, though, if the only product was viewing something, so no material goods. The logic fails. The logic completely fails. I don't understand how that opinion was written by the Supreme Court on a 9-0 unanimous. The court today would come nowhere near that opinion.
No, nowhere near that opinion.
Yeah.
But that's part of that Lochner era stuff when we were dealing with like maximum contracts. This is the same era when the courts were striking down child labor laws as illegal, striking down maximum work hour requirements is illegal, striking down, minimum work conditions is illegal. This is part of that era when the courts were like, the government has no role when it comes to such things. It's a matter of contract, and workplace safety is not a role of government. So, yeah, that's part of the Lochner era. So,
a bit different court.
Very different court. When we're really maximizing the shit out of the contracts clause of the Constitution, which now has been basically rendered dead letter. We went so far the other way that the contracts clause is now basically dead. There's got to be somewhere in between, right? Yeah.
There has to be, yeah. Torin, 2 out of 2 for Kurt. While I don't commit more than 2 braids out, you're in the running for a custom braid. Cheers to you. Love your reviews and analysis.
Sweet.
Torin does amazing work. Like amazing. Ian, you've seen your braid?
Yes. I'm going to get a braid.
So the braid is essentially
silk.
Imagine a really cool interwoven pattern of fabric that can form, like mine's gonna be robots. Ian, what was yours?
Swords.
Like
it's actually modeled after a sword I own. Give me a second.
Of course it is.
I will show.
Please get the sword so you can show it, contrast and compare.
Yeah. It's really cool stuff, though. Torin has a channel. Please check it out. Victor Man 7777. Why would a court be able to seal records away from the DOJ? Can't the DOJ use a subpoena to get it?
Not from the DOJ, just from us norms.
Just us normies. Syracuse Brad. NFL gave up 501c in 2015. MLB in 2007. NBA never was. NHL and PGA still are. Just researched. Thank you, Syracuse Brad.
It's raining outside. It's kind of nice. There's some lightning outside too. John
Cameron, do the Disney parks also fall under 501c6?
No, they're very for profit.
DC US 55. Welcome, Uncle Runkle.
There you go.
What the hell is that?
This is a sword.
Uh-huh.
You see how the grip and guard is fairly distinctive? Well,
uh-huh.
You can see the same pattern. It's the same style. It's the same design.
That is freaking cool.
Is it good for beheading?
It probably is. I have not had a volunteer for testing, but break in and find out, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Or just don't. Like your head is better on your shoulders. That's where it belongs.
Put your head on my shoulders. Don't go to Ian's house.
Don't. You can't
I've used it for
break
yard
in
work.
everybody's house.
I will say your neighbors may stop and look at you for a moment if you clear out like a thicket of small like tree growth with a sword that literally has a bone handle. That's a moose bone.
Mm-hmm.
So
what kind of sword is the sword for murder, Rob? Do you have a definitive sword?
It's
what
the
style
murder
sword
is
is?
a dagger.
Oh,
Oh no,
okay.
the Soul Sucker 3000.
Yeah. What style sword is that officially canon?
I don't know. It's not a
You
big
got-
broadsword. It's not a rapier. It's
I
just
think
it's just
I
a
think you
standard
need
sword.
to I think you need to decide what style of sword is the canon for your character.
You are
Um,
probably right.
I could go on Mid Journey. So it's a black sword with like a red gem.
Yes.
Hey, chat, this is good way for you to get involved. What style of sword do you think should be Rob's character official style of sword, and why do you think it's good for his character? Which sword is best sword for Ghostblade?
You do realize
I'm trying to get engagement. I'm trying to help you with the engagement.
It's a perfect question for engagement. You're asking the chat about my sword. They don't view sword as like the steel thing oftentimes. They sometimes will
See, who got rid of the thirst gif?
for good reason.
No.
This is a good reason not to have it around. I can't have it with you here. No, bad idea.
How about I give you a version of the thirst gift that isn't quite as thirsty?
I don't know if I trust you. You can show it on the screen. Hi, Mom. Happy anniversary, Mom. Today would have been my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. So happy anniversary to Mom. Happy Father's Day to my dad. Kurt, you made a comment last week that like hit home like really hard. Like you said, happy upcoming Father's Day to your dad. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever heard when you said it, because I go outside and talk to him, like, and hang out with him. So happy Father's Day to you, Dad. Happy anniversary to you, Mom and Dad. Cheers. Yep.
See, that one's safe.
That was safe. That was safe.
Possibly a little boring, but safe.
Uh-huh.
The
I
sound of
also
someone
brought up
sucking
Mom's
out of a
chat.
straw.
I brought up Mom's chat to remind you. Some people are watching.
That's never stopped you before.
Fair. Wait, hang on. What was? Oh, that was you sent me the one that was. Wait, were you had to add that as an asset, or no? You were able to share your screen. And
I'm
pull it
allowed.
up.
Yeah. I can
Oh
share it, but I can't add it as an
no. I just realized you could do that from start to finish. You can put a screen up, share it, and control. Oh shit.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm reasonable with the power I have.
For varying degrees of reasonable, yes.
Yes.
Here's a hypothetical that will never happen. If all 9 agreed to overturn Chevron deference or the Clean Water Act, do you think they would? No, because all 9 would never agree. With today's political and social climate, what would you think would happen?
I
Chevron
think overturning Chevron, I think, is a possibility. The Supreme Court has taken up exactly this question again for next term, directly on point. Last time they didn't have the votes for it. So Chevron might be coming to an end or modified in some way. So
I think Chevron's done.
Yeah, I think I have some hopes. Yeah.
But not 9-0.
No.
Not 9-0.
No.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they
6-3
can't.
or 5-4.
Yeah.
I don't think they can agree 9-0 on them having lunch, let alone.
No, that's not true. No, the Supreme Court is unanimous half the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
like unanimous half the time. They're good at that.
Yeah. Yeah, the non-unanimous is the ones that get all the attention, but the Supreme Court's unanimous, or even when they're not unanimous, like 8-1, 7-2. I mean, those are the vast majority of things. 5-4s are pretty rare.
I mean, the Canadian Supreme Court doesn't go in unanimous that often, I don't think, but
the U.S. does it. They do a good job with that. J. Michael RNN, thank you for this clarification. Suboxone should not show on drug tests because it metabolizes differently unless it's specifically tested for. Interesting to know. And then Q Reverie, same thing. Thank you. Suboxone requires special tests, doesn't show up with standard opiate panel. Deaf don't have family member who prints money for government with sub addiction. Oh, okay. Pam Bystrack, thank you. My former boss is one of the lawyers that heard the Giuliani DC disbarment hearing. Ooh, interesting. Heather, Rob, you're Zora's lawyer. You can't give Runkle ideas. I can. But
I
can
would
also-
actually like to see that retainer agreement.
You don't get that retainer agreement. Are you out of your mind? No.
I'm going to raise with the court that I'm actually concerned that there might be some fraudulent representation here.
False. No, false.
So the court needs to confirm with Zora that that she's actually being represented.
That's going to be done in camera outside your presence and mine.
That's fine, but the court needs to see it.
Fine. Neurodivergent counselor, thank you very much. The Bare Minerals Matte Complexion Rescue Tinted Moisturizer or lower or Tower 28 Sunny Days Tinted Sunscreen. The tinted sunscreen I've been curious about because I heard those are just good in general.
Yeah. I was using
Both
Dr. Jart's green tinted sunscreen for a while. That's pretty good for my complexion and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Don't use Trudeau's brand.
Yes, we understand. Or the governor of Virginia, also same problem.
Northam or not Northam. Northam. Then it was Northam. Brain. This is a problem. My brain is that's how I know I'm tired. Okay. Both are formulated for sensitive skin and are sheer but give a nice glow. Thank you, neurodivergent counselor. Debbie O, thank you. Kurt, Wet and Wild Photo Focus Translucent Setting Powder. Apply with a brush, not puff. Also prevents flashback from lights.
There you go.
I like that one. Wet and Wild. I feel like bad, even like Wet and Wild. That's I know it's a Wet and Wild. What's it called again? The Wet and Wild Photo Focus Foundation. It's a Photo Focus Setting Powder. Just keeping that.
Leslie was asking if we're actually live. Yes. Hi.
Oh, yeah, we're live. Hi. The neurodivergent counselor. My favorite thing about tiny humans is they absorb everything and have no issues regurgitating it back. They have no filters, and it's beyond magnificent. Unless they are dressing you down. Yeah, when they're like, I used to be able to hug you, but now I can't fit my arms around your stomach. You're like, oh, no, I don't like that. That's mean. Why did you say that? But you can't because they're so cute when they say the stupid things. Kids. M169, Rob, look up the flying squirrel who was playing dead down to an ant farm. I saw that. I will pull that up in a second after we get through our final story. Flying squirrel playing dead. Someone sent me that. It's a great video. We're going to pull it up before we close out. Heather, those police officers were actors on a TV show. Thank you. It's a quite funny show. Runkle called it immediately. Piece of the puzzle. Rob, look up the flying squirrel playing dead. Got that one. Ian, there can only be one. Runkle.
The other thing is, if those were real police officers, there would have been a camera malfunction that results in the footage being lost.
Too true. Too true.
Yeah. Debbie, thank you. The Sword of Omens from Thundercats. Oh, this is on what okay. All right. I can see that. You know what I'm talking about, Ian? The Thundercat sword?
I don't know that one, but
search Thundercat sword.
Here, I have a possible image. I'll bring it up in just a second.
Yeah, this photo focus one from Wet and Wild was only $6.49. It's not a bad deal.
Bad. Yeah.
I might get that one.
Becky G, I want Ian to move to the USA like Viva did. I don't know why. I just want him to. Me too. But that's a two-person decision. Ian is not Ian without Mrs. Runkle. Both of them have to be on the same page, and they both have to want to do it. They can't force one another to do it, so we're going to go with their schedule and what they want to do. Karen Brown, you all make my Saturdays magical as I crochet. Thank you very much, Karen. And then Truffle Hound coming in here. Ari Zora, Kurt, have you considered our proposal? Would you like to preside?
What am I presiding over?
Over a trial.
I'll preside over anything, sure, yeah. If we're doing a mock trial, I'll be happy to preside.
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sam Bankman-Fried.
I'm gonna go get this Wet and Wild stuff for $6.49. Can I get this at like Ulta Booty or something? Maybe he'll get
probably.
There.
Yeah. SBF, ready? Swoop. So, Kurt, I remember you and I talked about SBF filing that motion to dismiss the superseding indictment.
Mm-hmm.
He asked to say, he basically said, you extradited me on the original charges in the original indictment. You can't post new charges after extraditing me because you only have jurisdiction because the Bahamas said you could charge me for these things. You didn't go through the Bahamas and say these are similar crimes, yada, yada.
Mm-hmm.
Judge was not amused, but it took place today. And a result of that hearing is, and we're going to do this kind of quick because it's people don't like SBF that much.
What do you mean they don't like SBF?
Well, we're almost at a trial date. I'm just trying to keep people.
Oh, no, we're not.
What the trial date is?
Bullshit.
Now,
We're almost at trial date.
well, now we're almost at like 2 trial dates. So,
like a year from now.
I mean, here's the thing. Let me zoom in. We do the zoomy zoom. That's
Can I take over the screen for a moment to show some possible sword images?
When Wild can be found at any drugstore? Okay, I'll just go to my local Walgreens and get tomorrow. Kick ass.
What? Yes, you may. Within reason, Ian, please.
Oh, they're not going to be like that kind of sword. Jeez.
You violated trust.
I have never violated trust.
Oh, that's solid. That is definitely what it looks like. That is.
And there's a second choice, which I don't think is as good, but it's this.
No, I like the first one.
First choice.
I think so too. So I will send you that image. I'll send it off to David as well.
David,
be like,
yeah,
hey, we decided.
Like, you know how it like takes in the blood, like that's the down the blade.
Yeah.
That's the blood it takes in. Then the gemstone is in the. Yeah,
I think the handle should be red too, though. I liked it though. I really like the overall design.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I'll send that to David. Midjourney is amazing for that kind of thing. So
that's freaking awesome. Go Midjourney.
All right, let's put that back.
Switching back. All right. So this was the motion to dismiss. And actually what I wanted to do was I want to give credit to one of the last few what I would consider actual really good on the ground reporters. Hang on. Twitter. Inner City Press. Inner City Press. Have you follow them yet?
Yes,
Maybe.
they did some great coverage on what is it, the ChatGPT lawyers.
Yeah, phenomenal coverage. And the way he does it, he does court coverage how you're supposed to. Stick to the facts, what's asked, what's said. Don't go into these like long discussions about what you think is going on or the background.
Oh, I don't want to press power.
The court proceeding moves so fast, you need to get this info in. And he was in court today when this motion was being argued. I'm trying to make sure I've got the right one before I pull it up. Because the dude spends all day in federal court in New York just reporting on the cases that are before the court. It's pretty amazing, to be honest.
Well, and good reporting too, which is impressive.
Yeah. And yeah, good and accurate, like solid reporting.
Like I see his stories about cases and they sound like actual cases. You know, it sounds like.
No, I understand the problem. That's why I laugh. It's funny.
Yeah. It's
You mean he reports a case and actually sounds like it might actually be right? Whoa.
Yeah, like he's actually understanding what's happening in a courtroom, and
that's
an interest in reporting on it accurately.
I don't know what to do with that.
It'd be cool just to get facts out of a courtroom because we don't get that. So this is a very valuable service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Bankman-Fried. Wait, did you delete your thread? You didn't delete your thread. There's no way. It was too good. Can Twitter stop moving buttons around?
Oh, no, they can't. That's not how they operate.
Legit. I knew where stuff was. And they just keep moving it. Okay, hang on. I got it. Okay, I got it.
Get ready.
Push the button.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
All right. So now Sam Bankman-Fried and his lawyers are in Judge Kaplan's courtroom here in Southern District, New York. SBF has moved to dismiss, and last night DOJ agreed to sever and push back the China bribe charges. So at the very least, we have a bifurcated trial.
Uh-huh.
Which is we pushed out even further. Yeah. Here we go. Bankman-Fried is sitting between his lawyers waiting for Judge Kaplan to come in. Court security officer goes forward as one of the prosecutors, Nick Ruse, turns around to scan the courtroom gallery. Drum roll. All rise. Judge Kaplan, I'd like to begin with government's letter of last night, the closing hours of Flag Day. I have some questions about it. If I were to agree the defendant has no standing on the rule of speciality, why would the U.S. want or need a waiver? The new attorney for the U.S., the previous one withdrew and has been replaced. We have diplomatic obligations to the Bahamas. We have an interest in observing diplomatic relationship. Judge Kaplan, so you wouldn't proceed even if the Bahamas takes no position. You guys see what I mean about the good reporting? This right here is invaluable. Coming out of a district court where we can't see what's going on, when reporting like these narratives, you don't get it. This is a lot better. So, and if I don't sever it, will you be ready for trial in October? As long as the Bahamas agrees. What? Mr. Cohen, anything. In light of the government's letters, things have changed. The new charges should be dismissed. There's no consent. What consent are you referring to? From the Bahamas? On the campaign finance counts. Let's take that later. I'm not going to rule on that now. I want to give it more thought. For purpose of today's festivities, let's hear about what we expect 2 days ago. I don't
Festivities.
have time.
I love when the judge has a sense of humor.
Dude, this judge is great. This judge is fantastic. All the snark is fantastic. Judge Kaplan, 45 minutes all in, each side with a short rebuttal. SBF's second lawyer, who also represented Ghislaine Max. Ghislaine, we're going to say that name, just not the last one. The Bahamas-U.S. treaty applies. Article 14, the rule of speciality. Judge Kaplan, their act doesn't bind the U.S.
Wow, amazing concepts. Wow. It's almost like the United States is a sovereign country different than Bahamas. Who knew?
Everdell, the request wasn't made until May 3rd, 3 months after the indictment. So the new charges should be dismissed or in the alternative to sever them. Judge Kaplan, you have a major problem on standing. The U.S. won't proceed without consent. I need to get in direct contact with this reporter. He's awesome. Everdell, we have a case from the 1800s. We have a protest. A protest from where? Everdell, the Bahamas. They must expressly consent, so they are objecting. I don't get that at all. Look at the treaty with the Dominican Republic. Kaplan then goes on. Second Circuit found the U.S. never intended these treaties to be enforceable by individuals.
One would imagine.
Individuals' rights derive from the state.
Yeah, show me a treaty that extends to an individual. I'll wait, man. I mean, come on.
They never do. The state has the ability to enforce, only the state. Everdell, the operative document coming out of the Bahamas is the warrant of surrender. It has a page called Schedule of Charges. All our client consented to was simplified extradition. Okay? Kaplan, did you consent to the minister extraditing him on count 12? That was the omnibus count. That was the all financial crimes count. He only consented to what was in the schedule of charges. We shouldn't be getting into what the minister intended. There's a presumption of regularity of the proceeding. If Your Honor severs, we suggest you should sever the campaign finance charges too. So here's the concept that's being argued right now. Because people are going to get confused. Bankman-Fried was charged in the U.S. The U.S. said, hey, Bahamas, you have him. The Bahamas said, well, hang on, we'll give him up if you can say what you're charging him with, and if we recognize that as a similar chargeable offense in the Bahamas, or we have a treaty that recognizes that we should extradite him. And the U.S. said, got it, no problem. Here's what we're charging him under. You have your eyebrows raised like I'm wrong.
No, I'm just concerned because there's some very strong wind noises outside my window. I was concerned about the weather.
Oh, don't panic me. I thought I was wrong for a second.
No, you're fine.
Okay. I was right so far? Yes.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So Bahamas says, we're not going to give him over to you unless you can tell us that you can charge him with a crime that we recognize, or we have a treaty that says we will allow you to charge our citizens or people under our protection in your country. And the U.S. says, no problem. Here's what we've got. They pass it over to the Bahamas. The Bahamas said, looks good to me. Sam Bankman-Fried says, I agree. I could be charged in the Bahamas with these crimes. Go ahead and extradite me. It's going to be a long process. Just kick me back to the U.S. Mm-hmm. Now, Bankman-Fried is saying, hold up. The Bahamas said you could only charge him with these 12 crimes. You can't throw in campaign finance charges and other stuff on top of that.
Mm-hmm. This is such a stupid argument.
Yes,
I mean, it seems to me that they can extradite him on one charge.
Yep.
And then once he's there, charge him with whatever they want.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because these treaties don't really allow you to do that. Because the state can push back. This is one where the Julian Assange case. The Julian Assange case is a good example here. Because the U.S. wants to charge him with all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And every country that he has been hiding out in is like, no, you can charge him with A, B, and C, but you don't want A, B, and C. You want D, E, F, G, H, I, J. You want all of them. So until you can promise us that you're only doing A, B, C, we're not giving him over.
But did they get that promise in this case?
No. This was a consent. This was saying, I go.
Yeah, I mean, that's a problem, because if you've got, like, Canada sometimes will do that, where they'll say, like, hey, and this is a thing that comes up with the U.S., because Canada is not typically very happy about extraditing people if they might face the death penalty. And so Canada will say, hey, listen, we'll extradite this guy if the death penalty's off the table. And the U.S. will say, okay, sure. We'll just keep the guy in custody for life, and that's fine. Yeah.
Ian, can you see what the chat's saying?
Yeah, I just took care of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
appreciate it. And thanks for the chat to bring that to my attention. Melissa, thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to pull that up just because I don't want to highlight it, but thank you for making that to my attention, and to Ian's. Good?
Yeah, I'll watch. Well, we got it.
All right, thank you. Going on. So now we've got Everdell now going to Criminelli. Kurt, you're familiar with this. Criminelli, the recent decision of the Supreme Court on fraud, the control aspect. Supreme Court came out and said the right to control, or the control element of fraud, if you are in control of the decision making, the charging for fraud shouldn't be allowed.
Right. Yeah, it wasn't close enough. It was too removed.
1 second.
In that particular case. I'm not sure the degree to which Sam Bankman-Fried conduct would read on Criminelli or not. I'd have to actually go back and reread it with detail, because that case, I think, turned on some fairly fact-specific stuff. And I think Sam Bankman-Fried's interoperability with it is more intensive than was true in that case. So I'm not sure that case is a foreclosing, but of course it's relevant. So I'd have to go read it more carefully. So fair enough.
Yeah. So she wants to argue that here. Kaplan says you can't parse it that closely. It doesn't hold water, at least in this circuit. Wow, I love this judge. Kaplan, we all learned back in law school that property rights are a bundle of rights. You can have the right to an easement over your neighbor's property to get to yours. It's no different here. Wow. The implication is the Bahamas gave us an easement to go get this guy.
Like it.
We get to go get him.
Also, whenever the judge tells a lawyer, we learned this in law school, that's not something you want to hear.
Fair.
Yep. So there's a reason this is being reported as judge skeptical over motion to dismiss. Cohen. Oh, wait. So Everdell, the right to collect has not been deprived. They are vigorously asserting that right in the bankruptcy proceeding. Finally, what rights did the FTX customers have when they deposited on the exchange? Mark Cohen. So Cohen, the senior partner, is coming in saying, Everdell, wrap it up. Judge gave us 45. Judge says 5 minutes. Cohen then says, I want to address Brady. We'll do that later. Government. On the campaign finance count, defendant doesn't have standing. Anyway, it was in the extradition request. He consented to it. Simple enough. Simple enough. Oh, Jesus. I just caught this part. So, Sassoon, since the government is remaining time, if your honor has any questions, so this is the AG, judge saying, I don't think that's necessary. Let's turn to the discovery issues. Have you made all the Rule 16 disclosures? This is going to an actual issue. The government is behind on disclosures. They know it. Yeah. So Roos says, sorry for missing word. The late hour of the letter shows we should have reread it. Kaplan, at least you're not blaming it on one of these AI programs. I'd have to send you to Judge Kaplan citing Avianca.
Ouch.
Just
the shade is
like,
everywhere. The shade is everywhere. Legends are told, my friend.
Oh, no.
Legends are told.
No.
Legend of the shade.
At least you didn't cite AI. Oh.
That'd be
we have a proposed schedule. 3 weeks.
That'd be good to throw an argument. Well, ChatGPT told me that they can't expend out the indictment. Throw that in and see if anyone catches it. That'd be good.
I know. And I think the judge is right here. So they're saying Daubert motions, and then the judge says, I fear extensive Daubert. And I think the judge is very right on this. There's going to be a lot of people proposing experts on everything crypto.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And,
yeah, you're right. And I can't.
And it's going to suck.
It's going to, this poor judge is going to become, you know what? Judge Kaplan is very likely to become the most well-versed judge in the entire country on cryptocurrency.
And you know what? That's going to doom him too. More crypto bullshit. He's going to be the guy who gets pulled out for every
crypto case.
Yeah.
It's like you just watch your career go straight into a tunnel that leads to places you hate.
But like every appellate court is going to look at all the Daubert motions and be like, I don't want to go anywhere fucking near this. And he's just going to become the authority.
Yep. This guy has
doomed.
just,
I'm doomed.
I know.
No.
So, and then here's Kaplan. I love this guy. So back to the drawing board. I have 2 law clerks and 300 other cases. So weeks earlier, Cohen, we have no obligation to call an expert. Kaplan, if you don't, I'll break out a little bottle of champagne.
What kind? Not the best. Oh, that's great.
This is the reporting that everyone needs to focus on. This is what people need to see, not the stupid articles that come out of it. This stuff here. Kaplan talking about, I disfavor using a jury questionnaire. I remember the Ghislaine or that
Maxwell.
case. Yeah, that one. Didn't disclose blah, blah, blah. I'm aware of that case. Kaplan says, I imagine you are. Everdell repped. Kaplan, Then there was my most recent case. I imagine you've heard of it. Inner City Press cites their own book on it. The Trump one. Everdell. We need to know exactly what loan agreements they're referring to. Sassoon. This is exactly the type of minutia courts have denied defendants access to. Oh, bad. I don't.
I don't know if that's minutia.
I wouldn't call this minutia.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
SBF lawyer, we need the code-based information to know to show who made the changes to the code. Here's the sequence. We asked the government for it. They said no. We asked FTX. They said no. We're now before your honor. Sassoon, the power to act is not a duty to act. Okay, I think that now we've entered the part where I am switching sides on who I am in favor for in this one, like on this argument. SBF lawyer, the debtor has been enmeshed with the government. Kaplan says, I'll probably write something brief about this substantially for the reasons the U.S. has advanced. The request for the U.S. to go through the debtor files is denied, as is the bill of particulars. That's rough, man, for the defense. That's a tough ruling. Kaplan, wow. So thank you for the papers. Now it's my turn. Adjourned. All rise. Yeah.
That's them having a rough day.
That's a tough day, man, for the defense. You lose on every issue. And I think this last one, I think kind they knew that going in on the motion to compel.
I think that they knew that they were going to lose everything going in. I don't think that this is going to be one of those days when they walk out, they're like, oh man. Like sometimes you just go in, you just know you got to make the arguments and you hope one of them might land.
Yeah,
I know as a junior, like proto lawyer, an articling student, I was sent off to run a couple of bail reviews. And I came back and I was like, I didn't do so great. I only won one of them. And they're like, well, they were both sure losers, so we're going for drinks. And I was like, oh, nobody told me that. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we didn't tell you that because you probably would have been a little depressed going in with a couple of sure losers. But yeah, now in my practice, sometimes you're going in, you're like, I know I'm going to lose on every one of these, but I still got to make the argument and I still got to try my best.
And every once in a while, you do get pleasantly surprised.
Oh, absolutely. Every once in a while, you just you go in arguing something you think is going to lose, and it's like, oh, hey, I won that, and now my case is looking so much better.
Yep. Melissa, I recently read an article that said if you like spicy foods, you'll likely have kinks. True. That's a question of Runkle that he is married and should not be answering. So, just saying.
I got the right to not answer questions, and I'm going to not answer questions.
Yep, fair. RK Runkle, I have a report on dried peppers. If you had a chance to try them,
I've just tried them like in my hand as opposed to actually on food. They seem really good. Later, I'm going to have some food. It's probably going to be like instant noodles, but I'm going to put them on some. I think they'll be great on that. I'll let you know. I'll be on the Discord to fill you in on that.
All right. Ian, hot sauce update.
So I got to finish up the labels. I've got some, what is it? I'm blanking on the name here. Has ADHD. Nicole has ADHD. Gave me some great design tips for like finish for the label design. So they'll look a lot better than my own sort of initial sketches. But the big holdup is that I'm awaiting. So to get things imported, you have to have had them made in an FDA registered kitchen. And the FDA registration isn't actually as much of a pain in the ass as you think it would be. It would just be a form where you have to say things like, yes, if the FDA really wants to, they can come down to Canada to inspect. But it gets you it gets them a number, and basically then the FDA can start seeing like, hey, are a bunch of food products coming out of this same kitchen with problems? The issue I've got is that my the guy who did the fermentation for me, and like I gave him the sort of specs of what I wanted. He was the guy who's able to do it like at scale. He is really busy. And he's like, I will get to this when I can, but it'll probably be like end of the month. And I'm like, it's just a form. Please do the form. But yeah, I was like, so at this stage, I'm waiting on that because I can't ship anything to the US until I've got that. So,
Okay.
and game plan is I'll probably do like a week pre-order on my member page and my Patreon page and my locals like the locals supporter page. And then after that, I'll open it up to who wants one. But yeah, I need labels. I need all of that. So that's the current status.
Thank you for the update. I'm excited because I want to try both of them.
Oh, I want to get those sent out because yeah, I'd love your opinion. Like, because hey, maybe you're like, Runkle, these suck. I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough.
I like flavor in hot sauce because I can get beyond the heat. Like either way,
I think they've got good flavor, so it's just a matter of like I got to, you know, I'm worried I might be like a biased judge on this one. So, but I think they've got good flavor. I've been putting them on things, so I mean, at the point where I'm using them, like, yeah, but they've got some flavor to them.
Sorry.
And they should be shelf stable is the other good thing. So, whew. They are also spicy.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't expect anything different.
Yeah, I like the spice too.
So, Kristen makes a point, and Kurt, this is a reason for you to visit again, and Ian, you too. Just in case it makes an appearance in the background tomorrow, maybe give a preemptive bot disclaimer to limit questions during L&D. Alita was here this past weekend and made a request and asked if she loved the bot. She loved her bot, and she made a request that she'd be allowed to take her bot. She didn't steal it. I asked Kristen, who made the bots, if Alita could take it. And Kristen said she absolutely could. So Alita has her robot. Now, this is both a question to Kristen and a possible suggestion to Kurt and Ian. If you guys want your robots that hang out with me all the time, I think all you got to do is visit again. Or I can make a visit and bring the robots with me.
I kind of think I like it there, to be honest.
I like it here.
I like it there. I also need to reach out to Kristen M96 and be like, I would also like a second bot.
Yeah, I like having Kurt there, and I like having Ian there. Like you guys are hanging out with me, whether you're on stream or not.
That way, there's a little piece of me always there with Rob, and I like that. That's fine.
I like that. Yeah. So either way, yeah. Thank you, Kristen, very much, both for the work you put into the bots and the love you put into the bots, and for the super chat. WW, wait, is Kaplan the judge for ChatGPT? No, that I looked that up. I had to double check. That was Judge Castell. So I think that just might have been a typo.
I think that was an error by Inner City Press. Not a huge one. I'm pretty sure the judge said I'd have to send you over to Judge Castell.
Yeah, it probably was. Yeah, I do. But also, I completely understand because Alita lives not in the continental U.S. I do like the idea that she can take hers with her because that's also like taking a bit of the jury box with her. So I completely understand both sides. And I like that Ian and Kurt are hanging out in the jury box and Alita has her bot. It's just awesome. I think that it's a great thing that Kristen did with making all of them.
Oh, they're great.
All right, Kurt, I've got one more story. You want to go through the other story?
I've got energy. I've got energy today. Let's go.
All right, swoopy swoop. All right. Yeah. Push button. Yeah. Can I ask a question on this one? Why are all the bribery charges out of Illinois?
Because people are trying to save up money to get out of Illinois.
How much? Okay, Illinois was kind of the answer to your question. The only other question that you could have answered, which would have been more obvious, is why are all the bribery charges out of Louisiana?
Ooh, Louisiana.
It's just Illinois. Illinois. Federal jury convicts businessman of participating in bribery scheme with former Illinois state lawmaker. Let's make this text a little bit bigger. Come on, behave. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So James T. Weiss was convicted on all counts against him. 3 counts of honest services wire fraud, 2 counts of bribery, 1 count of honest services mail fraud, and 1 count of making false statements to the FBI. That last one, I no longer give any credibility to. Like, those are jokes.
It's the FBI's favorite charge because it's so easy. It's so easy to charge.
Thank Hoover. You can thank Hoover for that one.
Yeah. Don't talk to the FBI, basically, is the lesson there. Don't talk to the police. Don't talk to the FBI.
Yeah. The only, like, any statement that is false, like, so just say nothing.
If you talk to the FBI, you're going to jail for 10 years.
Yeah. If the FBI showed up on my porch, it would be like, sir, we know you're in there. Neat. I'm going to go take a nap. Like, that's really my reaction to any police on my doorstep.
These charges stem from a sweepstakes. Weiss was the manager of a sweepstakes gaming company who was trying to bribe the lawmaker into making that thing possible in the state. So the convictions were announced by the U.S. attorney, yada yada. This is the press release by the U.S. attorney. So don't expect anything like amazing. So the bribes were paid thousands of dollars to State Representative Arroyo. Bribes were paid from Weiss's gaming company in the form of checks made payable to Spartacus 3 LLC, a private lobbying firm in Chicago. The exchange for those bribes, he promoted legislation related to the sweepstakes industry and advised other state lawmakers to do that as well. In August 2019, Arroyo offered to have the payments made to an Illinois state senator in return for the senator's support of sweepstakes-related legislation. Whoops. Met a restaurant, provided him with the 2005. Dude, $2,500.
$2,500, like. Oh, that's
an
initial payment, but
similar payments for 12 months.
I mean, I can afford that. Can I get some legislation passed? I have some ideas.
I could. Man, the bidding on this is super low. Yeah. I mean, I'm upset that you could buy a senator, but I'm also kind of annoyed that the price is so reasonable. Like,
that's really bad, Ian.
We should start a GoFundMe. We'll just call it GoFundMe to bribe senators, and we'll just do that.
So Arroyo was accepted a 57-month, or didn't accept. He was sentenced to 57 months in prison.
I mean, that's not even the price of a fancy car.
Yeah.
Like,
we're not much more than the cup of coffee at a Starbucks. You too can own a senator.
Wow, what the?
And I see people say, yeah, it's a state senator. It's still somebody with power.
It's someone in power. Like that's not.
What kind of car do you get for $25,000?
That's what I mean. You think that they don't have other people giving them things?
2,500, and that's 25
except
grand.
It's going to be 10 payments,
12,
so it's
12 total.
Yeah, 25
total payments.
25 grand. A baseline Kia maybe, or Hyundai or something. Oh yeah, new, not much. I'm sure you could do it. I'm sure you'd want to.
So he's 40. Weiss is 44 years old. He faces up to 20 years in prison for accepting or for paying out this amount of money.
So 2023 Honda Civic.
Really? How much is a 2023 Honda Civic?
Hang on. I'll tell you. 2023 Honda Civic. You want base model?
Oh, well, I mean, we're going to have to get base. I mean, yeah.
2023 Mini Cooper.
$30,000.
No, we don't have that much money.
I mean, he throws in a little bit. Hyundai Sonata.
That's a nice car, bud. You drove that when you were here. That's my mom's car.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
U.S. News and World Report.
No,
It's a nice car,
So no,
but
base
it's not
model
like-
Honda. I'm sorry. Base model
It's-
Honda Civic.
Ooh, a Subaru Legacy for 24,300?
23,000 for the base model Honda Civic.
You get a
It's
Subaru
nice-
Legacy. That's not bad. All-wheel
It's-
drive.
It's a nice car, but it's not like going to jail for the rest of my life.
Kia Forte.
Nice.
Kia Rio for 16,000.
So, like, let me give you a Honda Civic.
Hyundai
and
Sonata?
now I have 20 years in jail. Now, I mean,
Nissan Versa.
criminal
15,000.
code needs to be. We need to reassess.
Toyota Corolla for 21. There you go. That's a reliable car. Get a Toyota Corolla for 21.5.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Eric
Easy.
Newman. Now we're car shopping. Yeah, now we're car shopping. No, because it's one of these things where, look, we there's a lot of examples right now in the law of things that are applied that just when you view them in the context of the like a grander scheme, a lot of it just goes, does this make sense? Elizabeth Holmes is going to jail for what, 11 years?
Yeah, not long enough, in my humble opinion.
11
Oh,
years.
that's
is
super short.
Yep, is complaining that she can't pay $250 a month in restitution.
What?
She owns, like, she already is, yeah. And
She's infuriating on
she
levels.
defrauded millions. Is she in the billions?
Yeah, I think we made it to 9 billion. She was technically convicted, I think, of only 650 million of it, but yeah.
Yeah.
There's people who do more jail time for like, robbing a liquor store to pay
Yep.
their drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yep. And you've got this, and yes, you know what? Yes, this is reprehensible behavior. You shouldn't be bribing any legislator to do anything. It's really shitty conduct.
But
You
especially
should be
not
bribing.
bargain
You should be
legislator.
bribing uncivil law.
You should, that
Yeah.
is actually fair because he can't actually write the legislation. Well, he could, but he can't put it on the floor and vote for it himself.
You bribe me with enough money, and maybe I can. Let's see what we can do.
Well, and that's the point that someone else is making.
Uncivil.
Someone else is making the comment about lobbyists. You mean lobbying? Yeah, there are lobbyists in DC who spend more money than this on dinners.
That's true. Yeah. Going to Per Se, guys. Having a good time.
They will
I need
spend
to-
more money than this on a single dinner with bottles of wine.
I need to become a Washington lobbyist. That's what I need to do.
No, you don't.
If anyone wants to hire me as a Washington lobbyist,
No.
and this is my dinner budget,
Oh no. This is a dinner budget for like one person. Let's say you're taking out a group of people. That's a $10,000 budget.
yeah, just call me. Like, I'll take that job. We'll do it.
It's not worth your soul, bud. Trust me.
Are you sure?
Are you sure I've got one?
To both of you, yes, I am.
Aw,
And I know that I know that you guys are joking and you're being funny about it. But yeah, no, don't ever become lobbyists. But it's funny. This is a prosecution that made mainstream media. Like was on the headlines, right? My gosh, he is convicted for bribing because he gave this senator through a third party what, $30,000? Is that what that adds up to? Yeah, 30,000.
30 grand. Yeah.
30 grand. 30 grand. 30 grand. Can we get back to the world of like prosecutions of maybe everybody for all the things? Like, I don't mean that like all the way because you commit 3 felonies before you in each day, but
you know it.
And somebody pointed out that this is less than Amber Heard's wine budget.
Wow, in a month, right?
Yeah. Like, if you just...
Like, this guy is bad. He's bad. I have no problem with saying he's a bad dude.
I'm just like, but this is bargain. This is like when you hear about, like, oh, the hitman accepted $2,000 to carry out a hit. And it's like, really? That's the going rate? And
also,
also,
you can do it for less.
Also, really, you're expecting that, like, I'm sorry, if you're paying somebody $2,000 for a murder, you should not be surprised when you get caught. It's like, well, you went with the bargain model, and yeah. I think Kurt earlier said his price is around $8 million.
I am 1,000% for this. Like 1,000%. Like if that politician receives more than a single dollar, like a certain dollar figure in advertising in the year, they should have to put the name of the PAC or whatever it is as a badge on their suit coat. Like just make them wear the NASCAR jackets in on the floor of the House. Then we can at least see what they're voting for.
I'll go a step further. Screw the NASCAR jackets. It should be tattooed onto their skin.
Oh, that's mean.
You went far. That was, I mean, okay.
By like one of my clients who learned his skills at the Remand Center. Like they'll do it with a pen and.
Proportionality. I mean, it's.
Oh, there's no proportionality. You steal something from. I mean, this thing happens. I have a whole video ranting about the other, like another side of this, where like, guy steals $50 out of the cash register. The presumption is that guy's going to jail. Whereas the employer steals thousands of dollars by like shortchanging his employees on their paychecks. Like, hey, you guys have to clock out and then you have to clean up, which is done lots of places and is also illegal in just about everywhere. And they're like, oh, that's a civil issue. You need to sue them. I'm like, no, jail. Like, jail. Why not jail? But yeah, they don't. Nothing.
Well, we talked about this earlier, like when we were on with Hunley and like the Baldwin charges being. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed is still being charged. And someone made the comment of saying, you know, how is it that the person that pulled the trigger, or they said, is it, how does the system work where the person that pulled the trigger is not being charged and the person that handed the gun to the person that pulled the trigger is? And why is that fair? Because it seems like it's the big person with the big money gets out of it and the person without the money doesn't. And I said, well, you asked two questions.
I mean, welcome to our system.
This is the system. This is what needs to be fixed. Like, because yes, you're 100% right. Baldwin should be charged, but the prosecutor has to look at that charging decision and say, it's a lot of political heat. It's a lot of money. We don't have the budget. We might lose. That's the embarrassment. I don't want to take my career. With Gutierrez-Reed, not a lot of money you're going against. A person that you can disparage in the media who doesn't have a voice that can speak back, and you can explain away a lot of the things. I just pointed out every flaw in that system.
The jury's going to have more sympathy for, you know, Baldwin and his, I'm just a stupid actor. I can handle guns negligently. But yeah, they also, and Celine is sort of pointing out what I was next going to say. They're recently alleging that she was like drinking and using drugs late into the hours before the day and might have been rocking.
There's conflicting reports on that. There's conflicting reports on that.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is there should be lots of jail time to go around on the Russ thing. Like, you go to jail and you go to jail. We'll get Oprah to give jail out.
This is you mistake what I was saying. This is not what I was saying. Ian knows my opinion. So does Kurt very well.
It
Both
should be the
of
Oprah
them.
moment of like, look under your chair. Everyone's going to jail.
Yep. And you know who wasn't charged or who is not being recharged at the moment? The producers or the director who, yes, was shot, but the director who told Alec Baldwin to point a firearm at him. Why are they not being charged?
I feel like I'm a little more willing to cut somebody some slack if they actually had a bullet hole in them. It's like, we're going to call that one even. We'll call that one we'll call that fair on balance. And if Baldwin wants to take that same deal, we'll offer it to him.
This goes back to what Ian says. This is like the Oprah moment where look under your chair. You get a charge. You get a charge. You get a charge. You get a charge. You're right. Where'd the live rounds come from? Every person had a responsibility to make sure that firearm was clean.
Yeah.
All the way up until that trigger was pulled.
Well, where is it?
And yeah, and this is also the point. You're right. No live rounds on set. You're 100% right. Every person bears responsibility. Everyone.
So let's just talk about this. Can you hear the noise?
Yeah.
That's what it takes to not kill somebody on a set. And it goes a step further. Can you see how that primer is punched?
Yeah, there is no primer.
Yeah, the primer's punched out. This is because this is a movie dummy. I got this from a film armor. And quite literally, the amount of time it takes to check one of those guns to make sure it's safe is you pop it open, you do a spin, you're good. Like under 5 seconds. It's real simple, real easy, and I was able to teach a complete newbie to guns how to do it. So that tells me that this is not hard. It's just that Baldwin gave literally zero shits, and that's a problem. I also want to mention, Jensen Ackles has been mentioned as a possibility for Batman. And I mean, I think he'd do a great job, but maybe they should consider that as a role for Baldwin because Batman doesn't use guns. So it's the perfect role for Baldwin.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this one right here. I say, here's a gun. It isn't loaded, I promise. Point it at that woman and pull the trigger. Do you do it? If you say yes, don't ever go. And I'm not saying anybody about, this isn't directed at anybody. This mentality is, if you are willing to say yes, you should not have a firearm in your hand.
Or like in the same state as you.
And it's some people, look, I know tons of people who don't want firearms anywhere around them. And I respect their respect for the lethality of that weapon.
Yeah.
So
I went shooting with a guy who is like super experienced, and super knowledgeable and so forth. And at the point he's like, he checks over the gun and then he hands it to me. And I checked the gun. He's like, did you just check the gun? And I said, yep. And he says, well, after I checked it, I said, yep. And he said, damn right you did. That is exactly the right call. Because, I trust somebody a lot more if they hand me a gun and say, careful, this is loaded, than if they say, like, this is unloaded, go nuts. Because an unloaded gun, lots of people get shot with guns they think are unloaded. And I don't ever want to be on that side. I don't ever want to have to be explaining why somebody died. And it was, well, I didn't think I would need to check again. Like, are you kidding me?
Not a good moment, man.
Yeah, there's just no, it's not a place you ever want to be in your life.
So, all right. That's kind of the wrap. We're going to catch up on Super Chats and we're going to get out of here because it's 11:40 and I'm going to try and land this before 4 hours. And thank you guys, both of you. And if you guys haven't, if the people that are watching haven't liked the stream, please do so. It really does help. Comment below stuff you want us to cover. please go show some love to both of my guests. Uncivil Law below has been doing great work on the Scott Peterson case. He has a great daily show in the mornings breaking down different stories in the law that are fantastic. Please check it out. 10 o'clock every single day, Eastern time, 9 o'clock Central time. Runkle of the Bailey, fantastic content creator. He is my co-host on Trials of the Century. Trials Century is coming up. We have the behind the scenes coming up on the 28th.
The 28th.
28th. So behind the
So-
scenes is 28th.
After my after the due date on my written submissions.
Yep. So please check that out. Also check out all of his content. Great creator. And he does a Monday Fun Day, which honestly, if you're starting a week, great way to start the week. Please go check that content out. I do appreciate them so very much. They are two of my best friends. I talk to them throughout the week constantly, and I could not do these shows without them. Catching up on some super chats and gifted memberships. Joshua, thank you. Thanks again for a great FNF, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Joshua. Very much appreciated. I have some pens that you sent that I need to make. I also have an urn to finish. I have other stuff to make too. I have a bunch. Cindy Calderon, thank you. Big hugs and thanks to the three of you gentlemen for the sorely needed smiles, and much love to the chat for the kind words. This is truly the best YouTube community ever. Cindy, again, I'm sorry for your loss and that you're going through this right now.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you were able to have some fun tonight. You can still laugh and have a good time. And I 1000% agree with you that the two gentlemen next to me and below me are two of the best people you're ever going to see. Yes, 100%. Ian Paler, thank you so much. Pay too much for a hit and they'll try to sub it.
Actually,
Kelly,
that happened in China one time where it went, I forget how many steps it went down, but it got subcontracted to a guy who subcontracted to a guy who subcontracted to a guy. It's just, or maybe it was India, one of the two, and it just kept going down, down, down. And then like the last guy like blew the job, and it was like 11 people deep or something. It was hilarious. Yeah.
Kelly GD, tattoo the politicians. I like the way of Ian's thinking. I think other people did too. My daughter just qualified M4, M2, Mark 19. Congratulations. Congrats.
Kick ass.
Love the badass mamas, the badass daughters. The member chats. Just because, thank you for the gifted memberships. Time Lords, mint tea and making Mandos. Thank you, Time Lords. Whiskey 77, bet you can't guess what I'm drinking. LOL, Wood Daddy Stacks. I don't know what you're drinking. Hopefully it's a old fashioned. Andre von der Elst, welcome to the Woodshop Rookie. Thank you for becoming a member. Equality, 5 memberships gifted. Thank you very much. Delilah's Doodles. Hi, white on white coffee with white cocoa. That's fantastic. Diana, I'm shocked and applaud for you, Rob. Thank you. Going on. Lee Flover Liz. Happy Friday, Rob, in chat from South Carolina Criminal Defense Paralegal. Thank you for tuning in. I do love the law community when they jump in on these things. Sharon Kohara, thank you. Hi, Rob. Hope you had a good week. It was a good week. Barney Cat, yay for ICWA. It's good for all. Have a great one, Sparkle Farts. That ICWA decision, it's a tough bag. It's a tough bag. That's a tough decision to make. I see both sides of that argument, and I see it is what it is. ICWA is a tough one. Those cases are never easy, ever easy. They're always bad, and they're always hard. So the facts are going to be difficult, period. Rabbit, thank you for gifting memberships. Very much appreciated. Nanner, Rob, Chase stream about the history of spiders. Oh, okay. Kenneth Siders, did you grow up watching New Yankee Workshop? No, I did not.
Are you this old house kind of guy?
Not really. A lot of my content creation, a lot of the stuff I watch is more new. Wood Whisperer, Mark Spagnolo. It's one of my favorites. So Joshua Ten Hog, thank you for more gifted memberships. Brentwood Chic, thank you for gifted memberships. Lisa, gifted memberships, thank you. Canonical Heat, thank you for the gifted memberships. Elizabeth, Rob, thank you for bringing us together. Thank you, Elizabeth. Joshua, thank you for gifted memberships. Twisted Puppet, thank you for joining. E. Warner, thank you for gifted memberships. Torin, 1 out of 2. This was the first one he sent as a member chat. Big thanks to you and your chat for all the support. If the news about the YouTube changes are true, I only need 1.3 thousand more watch hours to get monetized.
Cool.
Guys, Torin 3 on YouTube. Great creator, and he's a maker. So please go follow. Check it out. Please do. It's a big deal to creators when they get monetized. It's a huge deal. They put hours and hours and hours into this.
Yep.
So please support your creators.
I think it took me
like
2
watching.
years. Took you 1 day.
Oh, that's why I also tell people to go support all the creators that are out there.
I just tease
I
them.
really try to. I love people that put themselves out there. It's fantastic what they do, and I try to support them as best I can. And especially to 2 of the people that have gotten me along the way, Ian and Kurt. Please go support them. Please, please, please do. It means the world to me when you guys do. For every super chat you withhold from me and give to them, I will be happier. I'm not even kidding with that. Ange Torres, thank you for the gifted memberships. Just because the supervision was to prevent him from snorting coke off the kids. Oh, that's aggressive. Melissa just read
off the kids. Okay, that's
that was that one.
Wait, was there actually seriously an allegation that was something he did?
No.
Because
No.
I mean, that's the point where it's like, you know what? I'm honestly just kind of impressed at the level of audacity.
No, I'm not. That's terrible. But I don't think it wasn't even alleged. Corin, thank you for the gifted memberships.
We do cooking streams on my channel. I just got a new toaster oven.
Let's do that. We can do air fryer. I'm good.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I got a convection toaster oven, so it's an air fryer, and I made steak in it. It turned out great.
Yeah.
Huh. I had not thought about doing steak in the convection or in the like air fryer, but wings are great.
Oh, wings are fantastic. Samantha Steinis, I see that you joined a membership again. Thank you very much. And then immediately gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much for that. And then unnamed Firestorm, thank you for being here. FNF is a perfect remedy after a rough week. I try to make it that way. I really do. Steve A, squirrel playing dead. Yes. Okay, guys, I did not ignore the squirrel playing dead thing. Hang on. You seen this video yet?
No.
Oh,
I have.
God,
I ran it on my stream last time. It's a good video.
Okay.
Hang on, I gotta find it.
I'm thinking that I need to.
I might make wings tomorrow. That'd be good.
I'm thinking I might start doing like hot sauce roulette. Like I've got a ton of hot sauces, so I might take a bunch of them and just put them on a like spit, because there's things to pull up like a spinny wheel.
Isn't the original buffalo wing sauce like half butter, half Frank's Red Hot?
Yes, it is. That's the original.
All right, I'm gonna do that. I'll get some wings and do that. That'll be good.
It's really good too. Let's see here.
And so I might mix in some lighter ones and a couple of just lethal ones and be like, all right, we'll spin the wheel.
Okay, hang on.
Spin the wheel of morality. Turn, turn, turn. Tell us what lesson we should learn.
The lesson is, don't decide your morality based on a wheel.
So, flying squirrel. Here we go. Oh no, I must dramatically. I cannot. Oh no, I am so. Take me now, dear God, take me, please. Into thy loving arms, my flying squirrel body goes. I am deceased. Now I am gone. I am not gone. I am gone again.
The squirrel actually does a better job than many of my clients.
It's really fucking good. Oh no, the light. It comes for every one of us at all the times. Do you see it, Mother? Mother, do you see the light? I see the light now. Take me into thy embrace, squirrel god.
Okay.
I'll tell you what.
That was kind of Shakespearean.
It really is. And he's still going. He's like, no, you see me. You don't see me anymore. I'm totally dead. I'm dead. I'm dead. You see me? You don't see me. I'm not here. Look, I'm dead. You still looking? Are you still looking? You still looking? You're still looking? You're still looking? Wait, you're not. I see nothing. I say, oh no, you're there. You're still there. Oh crap. I'm in trouble. Yes, I know there are different iterations of that with volume and different sounds. A lot of that is copywritten music. Last time I tried to do that junk, it didn't go well.
Oh,
So-
did you get kicked
I
off?
could do the singing. I could do the singing track for you. I'm a squirrel playing dead. Look at me lying down under the broom. Under the broom.
Under the broom. Under the broom. Yep. All right. Jessica P, thanks for a great FNF. Love it. Best wishes. It's the third. It's the three of you guys. The perfect mix of totally different but perfectly complementary personalities. Jessica, that is a lovely compliment. Thank you very much. And a perfect one to go out on. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that are out there. Whether they're around, whether they're past, please give a special wish and shout out to your dad. So cheers to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful week. Please check out Kurt, Uncivil Law below, Ian, Runkle of the Bailey to my side. Check them out. Have a great weekend. See you next time. See you for Lawyers and Dragons in the morning, and enjoy your evening.